こんにちは。ボンバットファミリーと私たちのライブ放送へようこそ。私たちはあなたの視聴とリスニングの喜びのための素晴らしいショーを持っています。今、あなたのホスト、スコッティ・ジェイロとジェリー・ケーブルに、Stay Bombad を楽しんで覚えておいてください。
Okay. I've been away for 7 months. Now they're out filming the Book of Boba. Ooh, fight scenes, makeup. The one thing I've really missed is this hidden gem. Here in my hometown, Rotorua. The Polynesian spa. Come on, New Zealand, try something new. There are no words.
This is your wake-up call. Time to reach, go for it all. Vulture stirs inside of me, and I know what I can be. Limit is the sky. Hey world, watch me fly. The best part of waking up is vultures in your cup.
Welcome to the Bombadcast.
Well, Jerry, here we are.
Ooh. Whoa, boy. Wow. Here we are. This thing that we've been planning for a long time. We're finally here.
Fallen a pretty good week.
Nothing, just a very, it's the thing that everyone has been waiting for all week. It's here. It's finally here. Thursday. We're here. It's fuck it. We're here.
It's Bombadcast. That's right. So, okay, this is going to seem weird to some. They're probably like, what happened to Ken and Alden? Did they die? Did they commit seppuku after the election results? I mean, they may
We're
have.
now the new owners of Anytime with Ken and Alden. I was going to say, and I think coin flip, who wants to be Alden? I don't know. We'll see.
Ooh, I'm too scared. All that being said, this is a crossover event. We're testing a few things. We have a few things in the works in the near future, but this is Hot Wings and Canon Conversations with Ken and Alden from Anytime with Ken and Alden, but Bombadcast is hosting it this evening. So happy to have some new people here with the Bombadcast. We do this every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We've been doing it now for 5 years. And
yes, we do.
If you like Ken and Alden stuff, imagine the non-serious version of it. And
imagine
like,
if
this is next week. Yeah, this is next week. So we're talking about the Got Milk campaign next week.
Yes.
So it's not quite as this is all real non-Photoshop images. This is all I know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Jared.
No, listen, like, it's all downhill from here. So no worries.
But without further ado, we got to bring our two co-hosts in because there's a reason we're here. And as you can see by the title, we will be consuming hot wings and being asked difficult questions. I've got we got our food from Wingstop. Shout out to Wingstop. They are not sponsored, but they definitely helped us get the supply. Not yet. But I also went to my Wingstop, and I'm going to be the one doing the actual challenge of consuming their 5 hottest sauces. So
I just didn't give a shit. So here we go. Yeah,
that's okay.
I'm just gonna eat hot wings. I'm just gonna eat hot wings and answer questions. So
it's gonna be perfect, and they're gonna get deep. We're not just talking election stuff. It's gonna get deeper than that, obviously. But without further ado, we're gonna bring in the two co-hosts of this event. Very excited for this. See you on the other side. Dave Filoni, take us in.
It gets me every time.
Cheers.
It really does get me every single time. He also kind of looks like, well, whoever that is down in the corner. What used to be Ken, I guess. Whatever's left of Ken Knapsack is also here.
What year did I wake up in?
Ken, it's 08.
1862.
We just solved all of our problems. The Dark Knight is number 1.
Oh, The Dark Knight's number 1.
Yep.
I'm hearing rumors they might make a Star Wars live-action TV show set in the underworld, and some community organizer just got elected to save the world. This is great.
Yeah, dude.
It's
all up from here.
I really like Crystal Skull. How about y'all? I thought it was pretty good.
Crystal Skull rocks.
Good.
I like Crystal Skull. It was
I think everybody's going to be really reasonable about it for years.
Yeah, I bet when I walked out of the Cinerama Dome that night in 2008, I was like, everyone here is definitely going to pick up on the themes of the 1950s anti-intellectual movement in America helping to stop our growth, and that we have to redefine ourselves. I knew everyone was going to pick up on those themes.
I could tell.
That's true.
Right.
And that's why we have such an intelligent electorate who can pick up on all kinds of messaging here in this country. By the way, the BOMBAD delegations votes have finally been counted for 6,073 electoral votes. Jill Stein actually swept it in the end.
Wow.
All of those people that said it was a good idea, they're right. We did it, everybody. We did it. A third party has risen with no work over a 4-year period. You know? It just happened.
A veritable bull moose party of a modern age. Yep.
Incredible. Hello to both audiences. Anytime, which we say could be anytime, but really is Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. I believe it was the inferior time zone.
Yeah, the less
the less
good, the lesser of the time zones. Yeah, and though tomorrow you might take the keys, and who knows if you do a show tomorrow, who knows what's going to happen. I will be on the road. I got to head to an event this weekend, so maybe a blessing that I got to just put the mic down tomorrow morning.
Well, you know, I would say it's well earned. Of course, you're not alone. We have a whole range of like family dynamics that we'll get into here, but Ken's engaged, and sometimes you got to do a weekend getaway. You know,
yeah, it is for
Where are we going? Where are we going, Ken?
I won't give the exact location away, but it's a high desert location for a film festival for a film she was in. Our buddies at MCHAR Films, the Wangers, Christian and Cody. Nice. They reminded me to put on my ring. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah,
that's awesome.
But Alden, what are we doing? I've been texting you all day. What are we doing?
So if I may, just before I want to, let's address the elephant. Let's address the entire situation. This was scheduled about a month and a half ago because Rings of Power was on and we were talking about it. And we were like, let's just get through this season and we'll hit it here. And obviously we knew it was election week. And I think a lot of the times something hangs over you where you're like, is it responsible to do X, Y, or Z? Sometimes it's a monetary thing. Other times it's frankly a mental health thing. And that goes both ways. Like I can't do it right now because of mental health, but also I need to do it now because of mental health. And so in terms of the why go on, I think I would have been in a way worse place this week if not for my friends, present company included. So there's that. And I also think that within these serious conversations that we were planning on having anyway, with the little twist that we'll talk about with the wings and everything, I think is a lot of material and depth for how we navigate all of our problems, but especially these. And maybe at some point someone will be like, wow, I connected with that, and that will get them to tomorrow. And then sometimes that's all you can do. And so, I mean, I don't need to be like Bombadcast and anytime do not stand with, I mean, if you've watched a single episode, you obviously, if you know anything about, like, of course we're mortified. Yeah. Like, I don't want anyone to show up and be like, are these, we got first time viewers of both shows being like, are they going to shit on Kamala? No, we're not. No. We did not like the way things went, of course. And I think I speak for everybody when I say all are welcome in these comments and in the replay now and always. Thank you, Andy. And it'll come up as it needs to. But
Yeah, it'll come up as it needs to. Look, the sun rises on the next day, and we have fighting to get to, and things not up between us, but maybe between us. But there is still a future to fight for. There's still people to fight for, and I think that's an okay thought to have and put in your head for tomorrow or Monday. This is. I, as someone who will, and shout out to my buddy Steve and Chad, who always calls in the Blather, and he said something so perfect this week on the Blather, and we went live last night for a quiet kind of members-only audience to just kind of shelter a little bit. And he's like, me as a straight white male is going to be least affected by any of this, but for my daughter and for my mother, and his wife, like that's some of the worry he has that he carries forward. I carry worries forward as well. I started my vasectomy process yesterday. It had been delayed, but I'm going in, snip these things, because enough of this, and all the serious conversations will come forward, and the breakdown of what went wrong and all these things. That's to come, man. But there's a lot of sheltering in place going on right now, and we are not ignoring it. We are feeling it. This is not toxic positivity. This is function and community. And having some fun. I always say this as a comic and someone who gets up on stage a lot and sometimes during tough times or not even tough times. You don't know who you're reaching. The first thing to return is usually laughter. The first thing after experiencing some sort of trauma is usually some sort of laughter. And if you've entertained enough, you hear that. Thanks for making me laugh again. I don't know if Scotty and Gerry can make any of us laugh, but we're going to be here to get deep, to have fun, to laugh, joke, and press on. But the Anytime conversations will continue next Friday as well.
Yes. And I will say that is true. I mean, these guys can attest, being in a group chat where we talk every day, like I have noted that was the first time I laughed since it happened. That was the first time I laughed today. Like it has been coming to me way more than it normally does. And, the four of us, we would all be talking with each other and with our other friends anyway. And so we're welcoming you in on it. I think we all need it. Everybody in the chat talking about a range of things from planes and cars, animated film franchises to vasectomies, and living through fascist takeovers. So we got it all here. Now, the other part of this, the wings. I have gone on record.
This is commentary. There's a reason why we're doing this. This is not just for fun.
I don't know if I can. Actually, we're going to do 4 live vasectomies tonight on screen.
Let's do it.
So get ready. Get ready.
I'm on record as being kind of frustrated with the state of
He's got the presentation
content. And there's a show that's very popular where they do some what I think are fine interviews that get praised as being Emmy worthy and should be in the same category as Late Night and John Oliver and all these things because people react. And so we decided to give you sick fucks exactly what you want. This better be the first million view anytime, because that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, should we do Boom or Doom when this is over too?
Boom!
Whoa, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can have a chocolate chunk cookie.
Yes.
I think what we should do is how long can you live in the trunk of Mr. Beast's car, and we'll do that stream.
Yeah. Sounds awesome.
Look, I tried getting Ken to eat a Cheez-It Crunchwrap Supreme, and it still
he didn't forget.
We have tried our hardest to corrupt.
Can I
your
apologize?
show.
Can I apologize?
No,
You funded it, Scotty. I still owe you something. Okay. The problem is Anytime goes live at 11. You try going to Taco Bell before 11 to even consider ordering that food. It's a mind bleep. It's just you don't want to do it. We'll do an Anytime primetime special.
That's it.
The employees look at you when you walk in, like before 11 p.m. and are like, "What the hell are you?"
They're like, "This guy, he's going."
I want to say one thing. The hot wing stuff.
But anyways, regarding can I just say on the week, like one of my former bosses was instrumental in the development of hot wings, and I've always and he never shut up about it.
Never heard of it.
It was up there with crypto on things to talk about. It's a fine concept. Like I actually think it's a winning concept, right? Like of course it is. It's just the execution is as as dull as the first spice, and that's my problem with it. So tonight we're gonna ramp it up. I think.
I don't have nearly as much of a problem with Chicken Shop Date because she's funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's really charming. Amelia,
See, this is the one. This is the one that made me want to do this, because I'm not going to go full Conan and do all that. But what he did was take that element and to me, it's not quite as Dave Letterman as it could have been, but he made Sean Evans look more like an ass than he like made an ass out of himself, but also made an ass out of the concept of it all.
Yeah, he undermined the like, because everything about it is like, oh, it's so well researched. Look at this, and Conan was like, I'm going to expose the gimmick by showing you nothing but the gimmick. Like it was really, I loved it. And you brought this to, I forget how we got on it, but you brought it to me. The three of us were talking, and then you were like, oh, let's get Ken too, because of my dislike for hot ones. You were like, well, we should do something with it and do this version. So I don't know. I don't know if you had anything else about the background.
All I wanted to say was I know I texted it to y'all, and I just want to show everyone. I've got Wingstop's 5 hottest sauces. Cajun. They got the Cajun. I got their buffalo. I got their mild. I got their atomic, and I got their it's like spicy Korean barbecue maybe. And I think there was one more. Mango habanero. So and I'm not a hot. Okay, I'm from Louisiana. For those that don't know, and I like spicy food, but I don't seek it like this. I'll just eat food that's naturally spicy because it's made that way where I'm from, and I'm not one to be like, oh, I'm going to get the hottest hot wings. So this is actually going to be a little bit of a nightmare for me. Which I got milk, and I've got 2 sparkling waters, 2 ice waters. I think I'm going to be good. So I don't know.
Andy's talking shit in these comments. Look at this.
Andy,
bullshit.
Not actually spicy.
Andy. This is atomic. The Scoville levels, I think it's like 340,000 Scovilles. I did the research.
Incredible. Oh, Svetnik is a man after my own heart in these comments right now. I also it was your brainchild, the two of you, to say that Ken and I should be the guest interviewers and not interviewees. Like you have allowed us to guest, but you're going to give us. You're going to put yourself in the guest chair, essentially.
Yes. And that's why you should be. It should be on your channel. That's why it's a crossover event.
That's why it's.
Yeah.
Now, I admire you, Scotty, for taking the spicy challenge. I admire you, Gerry, even more for just going, not today.
Spicy Korean.
I'm having a White Claw, but also I'm with you, Scotty, on trying things that might be dangerous to oneself during this episode. I want you to know that I'm drinking the 7-Eleven brand Replenish electrolyte hydration beverage flavored caramel apple. And I don't know what this is going to do. This could be as problematic as the habanero.
I am drinking a cup of coffee spiked with Kraken spiced rum.
Nice.
And I also took some hits off of the Benjamin Penjamin. So
yes, the Asajj Pinterest.
The Asajj Pinterest. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
All right.
Okay.
Boys, I'm so nervous because should I start with the? I should
have a giant mug of beer.
And then once it gets worse, once the questions get more intense.
Yeah. Why don't you both take your first bite?
Here we go.
And then Ken, would you like to tee off with your first question?
I want you. Hold on. I want you to check out my fork here tonight.
Oh hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Oh, that's beautiful.
And by the way, of course, everybody, it's us. So it's like each of these could be a topic in and of itself, and we will veer off into tangents. And feel free to voice your own answers and everything in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you want my coming down the pipeline? I did prepare 10 questions here. We are going to go with a big one, boys. We are going right at the universe itself. Scotty, Gerry, are we alone in the universe? And why is the answer, of course we are?
God bless. Okay, so Gerry has very strong feelings on this. I don't know. This is a hard one for Gerry to.
Fucking whiteboards and graphs are about to come out. Like
I was gonna say, I can't talk about this one without going. Like I'm gonna end up out on the highway. Throwing my wings at semi trucks. So.
Well, my brief answer is no. I believe there's obviously other life. Is it intelligent life? I couldn't tell you, but I can definitely guarantee you that it's microbial life. Is certainly another thing from all across the universe. Yeah, like the idea of panspermia, which is the idea that like it crashed here, and that's what started everything. The evolution of life, like currently we're experiencing, and I think that happens in other planets as well. So I don't think we're alone. Are there other sentient, completely aware beings that are able to travel between star systems?
Right.
I'd like to think so, but there's no evidence. There is evidence of microbial life. There's actual proof. So that's my answer.
Yeah.
Love that.
Gerry, you're not going to even attempt?
Well, if I can get a word in edgewise with this guy over here. No, I got nothing to say about this. No, let me blow your goddamn mind.
Here we go.
Aliens, UAPs. They don't come from another planet. It's us from the goddamn future.
Oh boy.
Oh, you're a time slipper or a time traveler?
I have heard through reputable sources on Reddit that
You say refutable or reputable?
I said I think I combined the two.
They might be refutable.
It's refutable. These are strong sources on Reddit. Said that they got one of them guys and the gray aliens they cut, and it was like a suit, and on the inside it was like he had like pupils and all that kind of stuff. It looked like us, but with a fatter head.
Nice, dude.
Okay.
So what that means? Evolution continues, and I don't know. We all end up looking like Mandark from fucking Dexter's Laboratory.
I knew a kid that looked just like Mandark when I was in high school, and then he was talking about.
How'd he laugh?
I don't know. I remember how he laughed, but he went alt-right and was advocating for repealing the 19th when we were like 19. So
he's Mandark MAGA.
Okay.
we all do not speak to that guy. Can I build off of Ken's question real quick with a sub question for this? My favorite of the many hypotheses for this is the dark forest hypothesis, which I'm sure Jerry's like, I got all the data. He pulls out a fucking binder and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For those of you who don't know, the dark forest hypothesis is the conjecture that many civilizations exist throughout the universe, but they are both silent and hostile, maintaining their undetectability for fear of being destroyed by one of the others. It's one of the many possible explanations of the Fermi paradox.
Yeah.
I am, maybe it's because and I think all four of us are like romantic, I think we're romantic guys, but like romantic guy, the capital R romance. I think there's something really beautiful about like, it's only like this because of fear, but maybe one day fear will end. Like, because that's entirely driven by like fear is universal. Nobody's sending signals because of paranoia. And it's like
self-preservation, man. I mean, no organism that is alive wants to be dead. Like it just it's not possible, Right. I like that. I've never actually heard a definition for that before. That actually makes a lot of sense. I like that.
All right.
I do, in all seriousness, I do lean more towards something similar to that. Like, I absolutely believe, I think that it's small-minded of us to think that we are the only ones alive in the universe. I mean, just the vastness of it and everything. I don't think we'll ever, especially in our lifetime, ever meet anything like that. But you heard it here first. UAPs are us from the future. We're a bunch of fat-headed freaks.
Okay. So I really look at where you're coming from, Scotty, and say, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We've heard George Lucas talk about that.
Yes.
And I for one, I don't think there's anyone out there right now like walking into a gas station going, oh, they serve taquitos. Like that's not happening. We don't have that going on anywhere.
They're not disguised as us.
Yeah, they're not us. Us from the future, us from the ocean. A lot of people believe a lot of activity actually is down in the ocean. I agree that it's small-minded. It could be called egotistical. I think even someone in chat said that, to think we're the only ones. I just think that's the point. It's not egotistical or small-minded. We have this one thing. Let's do something with it. And we failed that this week. But we'll get back on that. But anyways.
Ooh. Andy with a great point. Bring up Andy's comment about furries. Look at how we treat furries. We treat those little weirdos like shit. Imagine how we treat an ET.
That's so true.
It's like very funny, but it's also very damning.
Someone made the joke. I forget who it was. I think this was a Twitter thing where like those kids, if it was really an alien in 1980, would have beat ET to death.
Yeah, it was like I can tell you one thing.
With like
it's like
sticks.
I can tell you one thing. Me and my friends would have beat ET with hammers.
Yeah, that's what would have that's what would have happened if ET like really happened. Like,
See, my favorite one is I saw an alien. I saw a gray alien in the forest, and I gave it Powerade and have a seizure. I just like the idea of like showing these things. Our culture would be just as evil and messed up as beating one with a hammer. I don't know.
Yeah, a little brown kid from another part of the world showing up to suburban white America in 1982. I don't think they'd treat him right.
No.
I was there. We didn't.
Ken was like, I was in ET. We did not fly. We did not heal any plants. Yeah, man. So like building off of that, one thing I wanted to touch on with you guys tonight is like, I think we cling to things like that for the hope that we could still be surprised is a really big thing. I always remember in Angel season 5, in the finale, the finale, because the show got canceled. There's a discussion about like the hope that we can still be surprised somehow still being like the most valuable thing. And that stuck with like little middle school Alden. And I was like, holy shit, that explains everything. I wonder what happened to the guy that created that show. I'm sure he was never canceled. So I'm wondering, like, right now, fascism looms, aliens, TBD. What do you hold on to, like, big or small, where you're like, I'm fucking depleted? Like, obviously, like, you both are married or have been married, so it's like, I'm sure romance is an easy one, but like, where are you getting your fuel?
Norm Macdonald. Like, I'm not even kidding. I literally watched all of his, like, there's a page for I'm Not Norm on YouTube, and I've literally is just going through all of them and just laughing my ass off. That's it. I mean, that my job. I'm very lucky to do what I do with kids and, teach kids and, talk about science with them and technology. So that is a privilege. That also that really helps. Even if it's at a private school in Louisiana and they all think they like Trump, like it's what their parents tell them. But most of the time, honestly, it's those two things. It's things that bring me deep joy. Of course, hanging out with y'all, being with y'all too, very important.
I couldn't help but notice you didn't agree with the wife mention.
Oh no, she's great. She's fantastic.
I'm divorced. Did you know that?
Yeah. She's in a hockey game with her friends right now. This is great.
She rocks. She rocks.
She's awesome. She's terrifying.
Can't say the same about certain ex-wives.
No,
people don't know this, but I hate this woman more than Gerry ever has.
in case her mom chooses to like look
me
up again. No, I'm joking. It's totally fine. Make America healthy again. Am I right?
Oh no.
Anyway, y'all. I think what drives me, and this is you all predicted this answer for me, and for once I'm gonna give a serious answer, and it's my kid. It's my daughter. It's the fact that I am the one sane person it feels like around her up here. It is that I have to make it through this. I have to be here. I have to do what I need to do to make sure that this world is some semblance of not fucked up. And I know we wanted to have fun and stuff, and we are gonna have fun. But you're asking me this serious question, and you know what? Every single thing I do, and I saw you shared a tweet today. You said it reminded me of you of me and stuff, and the quote from that, the dude who was like burning bridges with his family who voted for Trump and stuff, and they said you would burn bridges. It's like I would burn. What was it? I got to burn 100 bridges.
There isn't a bridge I wouldn't burn.
Cool. There isn't a bridge I wouldn't burn for my wife and daughter. And for me, just take the wife out. There isn't a bridge I would burn for that kid. Like a million bridges.
She's a great kid. I'm gonna say a serious thing about your serious thing. I got dad issues. That's why one of my best friends is Ken Knapsack. I'm always looking for a father.
I am a zaddy.
Ken's a zaddy.
Hell yeah.
And he's an emotional zaddy. I know that. I'm always looking for a father. I latched onto I called my principal by his first name when I was in high school. I latched on to like any older male figure. I'm always just like, will you be my Qui-Gon? Like I know this, even subconsciously, like it happens. But with Gerry, being like, you're in my peer group and you're having this experience, like I get emotional just like vicariously. Like you had that picture that you took of your kid where she had like the wings on the other day that looked like an album cover.
So proud of that, Dan.
I was just like,
I took that.
people are still good. Like,
she was
We'll get
Mothra for
through it.
Halloween.
yeah,
So,
she was dressed up like Mothra. First of all, what the
Yeah.
fuck? What a rad kid. But yeah, no, it was a lot. Those were great. Any other backup answers?
Ken, what's yours? I gotta know Ken's. We can't just do me and Jerry.
What do I hold on to? Look, it's life, it's laughter, it's moving forward. It's sometimes just putting your head down and straight on till morning. And I have people around me that I need to be strong for. Not just this week. We're having this conversation during a really important week in history, but just at any time that goes down. I spent most of my 20s and early 30s suicidally depressed and not wanting to hold on. And then after a while, I don't know, you can find anything. I am a big proponent of, you're feeling down today. The world's overwhelming. What is your favorite food? Go eat it in a car and laugh and cry and scream. And that burger, that sandwich, that taquito, whatever it is the greatest thing in that moment. And I don't think about that stuff often. Sometimes we're just robots, right? We get up, we do it, we fake it, we figure it out. So that's that for me and where I'm at right now. And right now, I don't want to, look around us. I think the biggest change in me, I've always been a very nice person that's treated everyone else around me nice. I've been the center of many different friend groups from many different kind of paths and careers and perspectives. And I still try to do that. But I think the biggest change in me in the last couple of years is look at the people around us, who have less of a chance to fight right now. Who have a harder path to fight right now. I don't know what the fight is. I'm trying to find out what my little corner of the world can be, and how I can affect change around me. But I'll hold on for that as long as I can too. And that's a serious answer. But yeah, I don't have a kid, and I can't afford it anyways right now. So that's why we're snipping.
Okay.
But but I do have Grace. I do have family, and I have family that I'm strained with. I have family that it's been strained for a while, but I don't want to pack it in. I tried to pack it in a few times. I don't pack it in.
No, and I was going to say 3 weeks from now, unfortunately, we're all going to be suffering through Thanksgiving dinner, regardless of what your family thinks and feels and believes. Like that I understand that, because like I've got family members that are extremely for one side and extremely for the other side, and it's difficult. I have anxiety going to those days, and like those little moments of like reflection and like just enjoy the fucking hot dog. You know what I mean? Like that. Those things are super important, because if you don't have those small moments, then your whole psyche gets thrown off. Like I couldn't tell you why, and I'll tell you this, but obviously Wednesday was rougher for me. It was rough. Wednesday sucked, but for some reason I told Alden this morning. Today was worse, and I don't know why. I think it was a shell-shocked response to everything that's been happening. But like, I don't know. It was, and the Norm Macdonald videos brought me through the day, just like I hope everything else y'all also enjoy brought you through your day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or an old boss of mine who I love dearly, but haven't spoken to in years, because I think he's was happy this week, if you know what I mean. But he had a good thing back then when we were real close, where he had a lot of things. Some days he had a back injury, couldn't get out of bed. He'd show up to work 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd be there waiting. He'd be like, "It's a good day. I'm above ground. I'm not 6 feet under. Let's go get some coffee, dude." And it was just how we started every day. And believe me, some days you don't need to do that. Some days you can't do that. If you don't want to go to your family's events this year, you don't have to. All those kind of things. But there is that little simple thing. It's the simple thing. It's the simple steps forward. Let's not think big. Let's think small right now.
Exactly.
I tell you, there is peace in my house right now when my parents are going to be up for Thanksgiving. For this my year with Ellie, and so they come up to see me. I go down to see them usually whenever it's depending on off years. But there is peace in my house because my mother has forbidden all political talk, and what she says is law in our goddamn house. And so me and my father, we had one big argument on the way to the airport one year, and she was like, "If y'all do that again, I will." And it's funnier when you know my mother, who is like one of the
So
sweetest,
East
everyone's
Texas.
favorite,
Sweet
everyone's
little
favorite
like
math
sugar
teacher.
plum fairy of a lady.
Yeah, she talks like this, Ken. It's Joyce from Just Friends. Are you gonna say like it's the mom
Hello,
from Just
Joyce.
Friends? Is my mother actually?
Yeah.
Whitham, did you slap? Anyway, my little small mother just was like, "You guys don't do that. If he, so help me, if he doesn't come here to our house ever again, I'm blaming you forever." To my father, kind of thing. It's just like and so there's been peace ever since. So long as stuff like I don't know, when they were up in July and when Trump got shot, and that was
I forgot about
we
that.
go,
Yeah.
we in the morning we got up and Dad goes, "Did you see what happened?" I said, "Yep." He's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Yep, that's really bad."
Jerry literally was like, "My parents are in town. I'm gonna show them the Acolyte, since they like Star Wars, see if they have fun with it." And then Trump got shot. It like ruined Jerry's whole flow.
The whole thing. And my conservative ass dad loves the Acolyte, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah, because he's not plugged in. But I want
to
move on. I want to move on to
the
hot
Matrix. Anyway, let's continue.
Let's continue. All right.
Korean. Here we go.
Scotty, how was the first one, by the way? Manageable? Okay.
Manageable. This is like on their chart. This is like somewhere in the medium area, and I've got the last four. They're going to be the seppuku ones. So
it'll be the show, the big show.
It'll be the show.
Okay. All right. You're going to have another one now.
Yep. Biden in.
And I'll get a question going here in a second.
Hold on here. Let me pull out Excalibur.
All right.
This is good.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. And then I think it was Andy in chat, and they wanted to know about my nails. Yeah, nails are going. They're a little chipped right now.
Hell yeah, those look badass.
Yeah, it was not the first time. I did it about 20. Regularly painted my nails back in the 90s when I was a rock DJ. But I had Grace paint these for Halloween, and they're still here, and they might stay for a bit. So, next question up, right? Me, Alden?
Yes, sir.
All right, Scotty, Gerry. What's the balance between Lamb of Peace and Sword of Vengeance?
Oh my God, that's heavy. Oh my God, I'm a firm believer in like silent vengeance. Like I don't the way I enact my vengeance on you will never be like a giant message or like a go kill your. It won't be like super dark. Mine will literally be moving something. This is so messed up. I hope my wife doesn't watch this. If her and I get in a spat, I'll like move something around.
Don't incriminate yourself.
Well, I swear it's here, and it's not here. Oh, I don't know what happened to it.
Scott, Katie has shooters in the chat that are gonna pull this out. You can't avoid it now.
I'm getting hot. No, but my vengeance is never anything super intense.
Okay.
This is so bad. I'm gonna say it though. I had one kid, terrible, this horrible student. I feel so bad. I shouldn't say this, but I threw away his lantern and his ID. I had to pay $5 to get a new one because that kid was such a piece of shit. I just threw it away. He was like, "Mr. Jar, what's my? Do you know my ID? My lantern?" He's like, "No." I literally threw it away.
We got him in the chat right now.
Hey, let's bring him in.
Mine's like a grown man, so it's not as bad. But like, that's my spicy answer.
Love that. Some people, they wanted me to repeat the question. Jared, the type of it. What did Ken just ask? I asked. Now I can ask you, Gerry. What's the balance between Lamb of Peace and Sword of Vengeance?
Jerry's good at Lamb of Peace. I'll say that.
Well, I have religious trauma, so that's a lot of what that is. But yeah, I would say Ken knows what I'm talking about. I was gonna say, but I am a very chill person. Anyone who's if you've ever met me, I'm pretty much like I am on here, but like you just like dump like 10 more gallons of lean like into my cereal, and I'm like that chill. So I'm a very chill person. Nothing gets me all hot and bothered unless there are people who have pushed me to a point where I have just exploded like in anger at them. One of them is an ex-mother-in-law, but not many people get that. Not many people get it because I am a very long-suffering person. I'm the person who the way I'm going to get back at you is I'm just gonna persevere in spite of you, and I'm going to as much as I hate to admit it, again, I'm not a I don't consider myself a Christian. I consider myself agnostic at best, leaning atheist. But blameless is a concept in the Bible that they push, like be blameless. And to me, that means you can't pin a single thing on me. You can't pin shit on me because I stick to my morals. I'm a truthful person. I'm going to tell you what I feel, but you're not going to be able to blame me for it because I live up to it. And I'm not going to I'm not going to give up what I believe to bend to what you think I should be. And so that's
honestly,
that's
man,
the way,
like
I
you
guess
have
it's
like
more of a quiet kind of thing,
Your religious trauma like imparts like some imposter syndrome on you, and that happens with everybody, I think.
Shit ton.
Like you're not giving yourself the credit that I would give you, but like I said this to Scotty and Trey. I forget. I think it was Scotty. I said this recently about you, and I'm comfortable saying that I talked about you because it was positive. I'll never admit if I talked about you.
No, the bad stuff stays in the chat that I'm
like Dick Cheney off of his recent tour of trying to be on our side couldn't get me to admit some of the things that I've said in chats. All right. It's just not happening. Not with any method. But yeah, the other day I said Gerry is not like duplicitous by nature. I think it's like, I was like, he will not even white lie. I was like, because he has too much integrity.
Yeah.
And I think that because remember, I've said it to you. I'm like, dude, why don't you just con your parents? Just like cite some scripture, be like, I'm back. And then you're like, I've dipped my toe in that before, but I can't. Like, I just can't. And it's like, because for me, it might just be like one of my parents abandoned me, like mechanism is always there of like, oh, I will. Ken will get this, but like there's a wrestling character and real person named Paul Heyman, and he has a famous segment where he's like, I have lied to get to the next day, I have lied to get to the next check, like I have. And sometimes it's like I get into that mode where I'm like, I just need to get out of this situation. I just need to get out of it. There's just nothing else. But you do not have that characteristic for good reasons. I would not recruit you to a criminal crew.
Fuck, man. I think I'd be damn good, honestly. I feel like I'd be damn good at that, frankly. But
you'd be like in the van, like, guys, you got 30 seconds.
Yeah, I would be the sweet talker. I can sweet talk like old ladies like you wouldn't believe. I'd sweet talk the bank teller. You guys could like get back in the back. Anyway, she'd be like making me a sweater by the time we left. Anyway,
I'm with you, Gerry. I'm hearing a lot of myself in Jerry's answers here.
Well, I mean, like I will say, I was a very quick adopter of the white lie. After I decided that I didn't really want to, me and old Jesus, we don't really hang out no more and stuff. So I was like, I can do like a tiny little one, and it's okay. Yeah. So I am because a little, like you said, a lot of it is the religious trauma of, oh man, I just don't want to end up burning for all eternity.
And also, even like
if I tell my mom I had a cookie.
Yeah, but even outside, I mean, but what I was referring to was, I know you have guilt of like, I already hurt my family by walking away.
Oh yeah.
Am I gonna doubly hurt them with lying?
Right.
Yeah.
Even though they wouldn't know about the second one, you would feel like twice the villain.
Right. Okay. Let's continue.
And for you, Alden, have you ever heard of the Lamb of Peace?
No, I do not. I outside of like Batman being all about vengeance and everything, like the concept of revenge and vengeance was very something I adopted very early in life. Very early.
That's incredible.
I always got my revenge. I'm comfortable admitting that I've gone to like really stupid lengths. Like I think I was as a fourth grader, I literally framed another child in class.
Incredible.
Because he had like,
I would have loved you.
He said some shit about me, so I wrote a threat and I put it in my own bag. And I let my mom find it.
Dude.
Now she knew it was my handwriting, and I was busted by my mom.
Alden took the lamb of peace and made that bitch into a sandwich. Okay,
right.
Yeah.
Look, man,
Sliced it up. Okay.
I don't. So
Yeah,
one of the many smart things that Joseph Scrimshaw has said over on Force Center, Ken's show with Jennifer Lander as well.
Oh, sure.
the thing that always sticks out to me is when he read Ken's like dislike of spaceship and sci-fi cloaking devices as you not liking when people hide who they are. My version of that and everything is I don't like when people get away with their crimes. If I know, like the stuff that we've all had to sit on, even in this space, in our jobs, whatever, just in fucking Star Wars Twitter, just like the tiny like sliver of humanity that is, we have all not said things that are demonstrably like correct and provable, just to keep the peace. We're doing it right now. We're doing it right now. There's somebody that I would love to fucking light up right now, but I'm not going to. And it's like, so we all like know we have to do that, and that kills me.
Oh, it's awful.
Kills me to let people get away with things. And I'm working on that. I'm not. But
that's the thing. It's a karma,
oblivion. You know,
it's a karma thing. I always feel like it comes back around, regardless of if you have your vengeance. Way vengeance.
I don't believe in.
You'll take that. I do. I deeply do.
I want to, but then I look at like who's president right now, and I'm like, oh, or who's president elect, and just as one example, but like I'm like karma, like if like karma can't be real, like when Steve Irwin's gone, you know, when Bernie Mac's gone, when Kerry's gone, like, and yet Netanyahu gets to fucking walk around, like karma can't be real.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay,
I get that.
All right. Great answers from all of you there. There you go. Andy coming in with a great one there.
Dude, I love Andy so much.
About
That's epic.
God damn, that's baller.
Beautiful. The difference between the two, Lamb of Peace and Sword of Vengeance, is results, gentlemen. Results. One of them is going to get results. The other will only hurt you.
Cool, Ken.
I feel like you probably had an arc, Ken. Were you more vengeful in your youth?
Yeah.
Was I more what?
Vengeful?
No. I respect a lot of what all of you said. All of us have. This is humans, right? We all have these layers. I am very quiet. I'm very calm. We're gonna all like that. Josh McCouga came up with a nickname for me, Kenny No Bothers, because it's just like, hey, we'll get through it. And then when I explode, and I carry the scars for a long time. There's something a lot of friends around me or people have felt it, and some who are not in my life anymore. It's called the knapsack silence, and when the veil of silence falls, you don't hear from me again. And that's my version of it, because that's results for me.
Do people ever break through the veil? Like,
they come back.
Does it take persistence, or do you have to do it?
Sometimes it's just calming down. Sometimes it's just perspective. It's like not to get too serious, but like my parents and I are generally pretty good. We've never been super close, and just because the way they are, we don't communicate well. But I love them to death. And when Roe v. Wade got overturned for the first time ever, my mom and I didn't speak for a couple months. She's in great health, but she's in her mid-70s. And I had a friend. And again, I want to be clear because there's people in chat who probably have experienced this. If you need to de-invest from your family, do it, right? Like found family and all that kind of stuff. Each case-by-case basis. For me, it was something I didn't have to do. And a friend of mine was like, hey, you and I are at a certain age where you don't know this, but you only have a finite amount of times in which you will actually see your parents in person again.
Ooh, Jesus.
You don't know it. And he said this to me when he didn't know he had about 3 left with his mother.
Wow.
And because, we live out of town, we're not that, talking on the phone's one thing. It can be every day. But he's like, you literally only might have 6 more times where you're in the same room with them. Weigh it, is it worth it? And for me, we found ways to reconnect. We haven't spoken this week, or for just let's ignore it.
And bandwidth,
bandwidth. And for that, it's okay. Again, I'm going to be clear for others in chat.
Sure.
If you need to confront it, or you need to never speak to them again, all paths are valid for you on an individual basis. But for me, that's where I go.
That really hit me, what you said about that. Like, I mean, there's like, of course, cliche versions of it. We see it all the time. Like, inspirational like quote pages will be like, everyone knows, like, everyone has a time where it was the last time your parents picked you up and put you down, but you didn't know it was the last time. Things like that. But like, what really fucked me up was a few days ago on the press tour for the new Zemeckis movie Here, where it's all one shot, and it's like all the de-aging of Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. Paul Bettany's in the movie as a side character, and Kevin McCarthy, who like actually does really good junket interviews, like for real with no gimmick. He asked Paul Bettany about aging and time, and Paul Bettany said, "Well, I'm 50, whatever, 52, 53." And he said, and I recently, was at my home in whatever northern state. And he said, and I went to buy a lawnmower, and they had an option with a 50-year guarantee and an option with a 25-year guarantee. And the guy was asking me which model I was more interested in. And I said, I don't need a 50-year guarantee anymore.
Wow.
And that just rocked my world. Like there comes a time where you're like there will be a time when they're like, 75-year-old Daisy Ridley's about to do Star Wars 20, and I'm gonna be like, am I gonna see that? Like right now, it all seems like, of course I will. But it's like we really don't know, and I've joked about that. Like I used to joke in 2020 after Luke picked up Grogu, I used to say, I can't kill myself until I see Luke training Grogu or what happens to him. And that seems like a joke.
Dave Filoni was like, damn, sucker. Okay.
And then he put it in Book of Boba Fett, and I didn't know where to go because I can't read. But people are going to be so mad. People are going to be so mad at that.
All right. Yeah. All right. Great answers, Freds. Great answers. More wings, more questions.
Yeah. I'm glad that God came up, which is not something I say a lot. Because I was thinking about one of our favorite quotes of our generation. Ken, I don't think you saw Spy Kids 2 in theaters.
But before you get too snippy there, Snappy, I saw Spy Kids 1 in theaters.
Oh, that's
yes,
cool.
That's because you're cool. Did you have fun?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, it's awesome. The first two are excellent. The third one has a young Glenn Powell, so everything has something. The second film has Steve Buscemi as a mad scientist, appropriately named Romero, as a nice little tribute. And he has a line out of fucking nowhere in this movie that, in this film that is a cheesy little romp intentionally. He turns his back to the main characters, looks at the camera. There's a beautiful close-up, and he says, do you think... By the way, he's talking to two children. He says, do you think that God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created? And this is because he is trapped in his mad scientist lab and can't leave because of his monsters.
Their thumbs.
When you hear something like that removes God from the state of power and really humanizes them, and you realize the fallibility, how does that work? Because you were both brought up in the church in different degrees, different churches, different systems. But when did you start to realize he might not have this all figured out? And and what role has that played in your upbringing and eventual, leaving to different degrees? Scotty goes to mass and pretends to give a fuck while he's waiting for Shadow the Hedgehog updates. But he's waiting for Sonic 3 trailer.
I'm going to be honest with you. Hold on. Well, no, I'll admit it. If I didn't play guitar for my school mass, I would definitely fall asleep. That's just what I'm going to say. And I love the community. I love all my people, but I have to be, I play obviously we play 15 songs in a mass. So I love how fast and everything goes. But it took me a long time, literally until college, because I was in my bubble. I went to private middle school and private high school. Then I got to my college where I met my wife, and I don't know what it was, but it all settled in that it was way more than Catholicism. And I never was I'm going to go to mass when I'm in college. I wasn't that type at all. But to see the people out there with the pitchforks, literally, and they're if you wear a mini skirt, you're going to go burn in hell. And I was good Lord, I none of that. I knew it existed in some capacity, but I never knew it could be in my local Hammond, Louisiana. I mean, it's 45 minutes from Baton Rouge. It's 45 minutes away from New Orleans. It's nothing but small, people from the outskirts of those cities. And here I am, I never thought that, obviously Old Testament, New Testament God are very different people, but I never considered the idea that God could be scared of us, or the idea that this, I guess, all-knowing being really doesn't know everything, until I got to a place where other people I knew had different religions and faiths and didn't believe in God, or they loathe the idea of religion, or my wife does not believe in organized religion. She doesn't. it just part of that's something she holds very true to herself. She'll go to church if I'm playing for graduation, but it's not something that she'll willingly do. And she finds it super interesting because she's like, this is so weird and traditional. And yeah, it is. It really is. Like Catholic Mass is very strange if you're someone watching outward in. But
it's
to really answer, it is weird.
Scary. I remember being scared of it as a kid.
It's
a really intimidating, especially like if they go into Latin and like all that, and like nomine Patri et Filii, people aren't looking at you. Like it's like the adults are like really standoffish, and like if you like, I didn't have like I wasn't in like CCD and like preparing for the sacraments, and so like my own cousins like wouldn't let me walk up with them for the body and the blood. They'd be like, no, you have to sit until we get back. Like it was really, really creepy. Yeah.
I just had to do that at a memorial. Yeah. Sit this one out. Okay.
Yeah. But no, I mean, to really kind of answer it, that's a heavy quote. And it's one of those ones that I guess I don't reflect on as much. I read a lot of mythology. I've sent literally everyone on the screen here a book about mythology. So like I'm a fascination with it, but I'm not one to reflect on the true and not the intention of it. But like that is a very heavy quote. And I know Robert Rodriguez did that on purpose, but that's not something I think about often. I like thinking about the origin of those things, but not necessarily the how in actuality that would be a scary thing for God. Because it's kind of like when you play Sims or you play like Sim City or any of those games, like you are controlling these things.
And often, how many times have us as players gone off the rails? Like,
because it's fun.
Our NPCs should be afraid of us, but when we should be, I think fundamentally at the root of the question, you know, as we throw it over to Jerry's half of it, like, are we a failed experiment? And like, and what does that mean? Like, because that's what he's placing us as his beasts and his like animal hybrids in the context of the movie.
Well, I mean, if you want me to talk about just that quote and stuff, is God scared of us? I think that she should be, frankly, because they're a bunch of dangerous monkeys. But and if you're talking about, you know, just kind of when did I first realize that this power I was taught my whole life wasn't quite as in control as I maybe thought that they were. I was in college getting my degree, the 1 4-year degree that I have with his biblical studies that I still have, that does me zero good. I remember sitting on in like these deck chairs on the steps of our administration building at like 10 p.m. at night with one of my buddies who we were both going through like that program, and we were studying our denomination's movement that we came from. The Restoration movement was what not to get too into the weeds of all of that bullshit.
Sure,
it was a bunch of people who left all these other churches because they didn't feel like they were felt like they were adding stuff to the Bible.
It's kind of like how we have, you know, like Galaxy Partitionists, Human Cultists, the Gorman Front. I got you.
Right. Exactly. But so what we had come to realize from studying this thing they were teaching us in this denomination was, I don't think we're doing it right anymore.
Wow.
And we had a conversation, an honest, long conversation about, do we leave or do we stay in and try to change it from the inside? Wow. That was, I don't know if
I know that's been huge. I know that. I mean, I know that's been a huge like point in your arc, was like the fight to change and then realizing it was too far gone.
Well, but I fought for like probably 20 fucking years or almost. I
mean, you told us like I don't want to blow up details about people, but like very vaguely, you told us there was someone who used to be in your life that like used to be one of the change makers who is now like completely let it rot this person, you know, like, and it hurt.
Well, I've known a lot of those, you know, I mean, over the past, and so I stayed and fought for a while, and I bounced back to more like conservative, kind of like religiously, you know, for a few years, especially at the beginning of my marriage and stuff. And then, you know, slowly, you know, we kind of started to like get a little more like, you know, progressive church in church terms and stuff, you know, like my denomination, there's no no instruments in worship. Women can't lead, worship or anything like that. They can teach the small children who have not been baptized in, tied their soul, fate. So we were taught to watch out for the Baptists and stuff, because like we were taught like how their doctrine doesn't work and stuff, because they're afraid, I guess, that the tolerant Baptists are going to pull us in and stuff.
That's amazing. Interfaith beef is pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, so what's funny about my denomination too is that like there's no like overarching like diocese or whatever, and so it runs the gamut from worse than I was in, where there's like a whole thing called non-institutional, and I'll say I was Church of Christ, non-institutional Church of Christ, where they don't even believe you should have a kitchen in the church building because of something Paul said about don't you have your houses to eat in, to Jesus. The churches that my friends who vote blue and who are progressive and for all kinds of change are leaders of a church that is a Church of Christ. It's in that same denomination, but they're out there basically looking a little more like the guy that I read about and was taught I should be, and those are the friends I'm still friends with and stuff like that. And we're all very rightly pissed about everything that's going on. Yeah. But the time when it finally started to fracture for me, I was rock solid for like 30 years. It was when this man, Trump, who all my family and friends, my father and everyone like taught me to be the complete opposite. This is not what we hold dear. And then all of a sudden everyone's starting to go, you know what? He's okay and stuff. And I mean, like when I knew my father who voted for Bill Clinton and was upset by the Monica Lewinsky scandal and stuff because of the, all that.
The decency of it. The indecency.
Had an eye or just didn't pay attention to the fucking grab him by the pussy thing. That's when I was like, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Existential crisis here. Yeah. And then the handling of the way that the church that I was at the time, they handled COVID and going back right when they said you could go back,
dude,
no masks or nothing. That. I think they had it was a bonanza, like it was a Shoney's in the 90s. They had a mask section and a non-mask section, like it's smoking and non-smoking. And my then wife was like, "Where is she gonna come?" I'm like, "Fuck no!"
Yeah.
What are they doing? Yeah. And that's when I finally was just like, okay, they don't care. They don't care. Why do I care? I care more about people on this side of things. So I guess I don't need this.
See, the weird thing though,
I threw off the shackles in a way.
It was a way of life for you, and that's the only way you knew. Whereas I've always knew. It's weird because Catholicism, at least to me, and I don't know anyone else who's experienced Catholicism, is like either you're super duper involved or you're involved at a distance, and you do it because it's family tradition, and you go to weddings that are Catholic, and like I said, I play guitar because that's exactly.
Yeah. Like my family was like, we're Puerto Rican Catholics, but we were just like Catholics, like where we play the hits. That's it.
Boom. Yes.
Like, that's it. Like we're not like again. Like my mom asked me, which I think she regrets low-key, and sometimes my mom will be like, there are things I would have done different. I think I did a good job. But like she slides in that would have done different. At 6 years old, she asked me if I wanted to do communion, and I said no. And she said why, and I said because I don't want to tell someone I don't know what I've done wrong. Boom. Because I knew you had to confess.
Yes,
and I knew that I was already a little liar. And I was like, I can't do it. And she didn't make me. And I think a lot of Catholics are like that. A lot of Catholics low-key are like, this is pageantry.
Oh, it is.
But Gerry, you're right. Gerry was like, this is an active part of like your goings on, like your day to day, which is very different.
So crazy. Yeah. It was your whole community. It was everything. It was everything you knew. And I watched
all
it.
Of Scotty was actually with me in that class because we met while I was still married in church, everything. It was right before everything just kind of fucking collapsed. It was 2015 when we met. So
and then Scotty did the devil's work. And
that was like,
the Catholics got me. Oh no, that's what they were more worried about than the Baptists.
Pull up Trey's comment.
Oh, we got here. Oh, even Kid Alden would never admit a fault.
I love this guy.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think all of that is really, really fascinating, and like,
Yeah.
it makes me think of as many religious talks do. It makes me think of the end of Dogma, when it's the movie's right about to end. God's about to walk back through the door. Alanis, God, the one true God, and Metatron, and all the biblical characters are leaving, and they talk to Bethany, and he says, like, they come down on the thing about ideas, and she says, I forget what Rufus says, but he's like, "You believe?" And she goes, "No, but I have a good idea." And like, when I was a kid, and especially a teenager, and realizing that like so much of this is good in theory, but the second you gave it to people and let them instructional manual it just was never gonna work. And I've tested this theory. Like, my grandma, she's been gone about a year, so I feel comfortable talking about all the times that I conned her with fiction that was not the Bible, just to sound like I was engaged. But like, after Thor Ragnarok came out, I was talking to her, and she was talking to me about why I don't go to church. And I said, "Grandma, church is not a place. It's a people." This is just what fucking they said about Asgard in the movie.
I mean,
but I think that was right. That was right. That your church is where you are. It's in the text.
I went to college for 4 years. The church is the people, not the building, and that's something that always annoyed me and stuff. When people would get upset about like letting these kids whose like parents don't give a fuck like run around the church building and stuff. You know, like where else do you fucking want them to go? You know, like I've dealt with all kinds of bullshit. All kinds of bullshit with this stuff. So,
Ken, what about you? I got to hear Ken's thoughts on this one.
I'm like Gerry. I was born in the church. I was dedicated as a baby by Pastor Chuck Smith. If anyone knows who he was, a very famous pastor, part of the Jesus movement in the early 70s that you hear about. That's where my parents met. So I was Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesa. My parent, if you've ever been a part or heard of Salty, the sing and songbook, a big Christian play character thing, musical that a lot of churches put on.
You just dropped it on us, dude.
I am riveted.
It's a
I didn't know this
generational thing.
Characters.
It's a generational thing. No, but my point, he was friends with my parents. Like I grew up in that. And it was there might be people in chat that remember Salty the Singing Songbook. Yeah. And the same group went on to do a mid-'80s musical called like High Tops, which was basically like the church's answer to the Breakfast Club. But I grew up in that. I grew up in Calvary. Calvary chapels are very legalistic. My mom was the church secretary for years. My dad did the sound for the services. But my parents were lower middle class. Because Reagan destroyed it fast, and they don't understand that part of it. But of course, I couldn't afford to go to Christian private school, but all my friends could. So I grew up in the world, and I always felt slightly disconnected from church. But I loved it, and a lot of and when I say I loved it, I mean like it wasn't. I didn't question it, and I had fun. Like I always bring up, like every Halloween we did the Hallelujah Hoedown. We weren't allowed to go trick or treating because of the devil's work and razor blades and apples. But I didn't question it. It was fine. Every year I got candy. I got to dress up like a cowboy. Great. I left for a while. There was a lot of drama in our church. My parents switched churches. And you want to talk about, feuds between denominations. They went to a Nazarene church in Pismo Beach, New Life Church, which is still there. Nazarenes can be kind of legalistic, but this was the pastor who I loved, who passed away a couple years ago of cancer, would quote Seinfeld in his sermons. Used to be in a rock band. He was that guy, right? I don't know where he would have ended up in these times, but preacher's kid. I wasn't a preacher's kid directly, but I was connected to it. Anyways, I'll just say, to cut it short, it just started to happen in the sense of, I was the head writer of my church's drama department until I was 22 to move to LA. Then I moved to LA, right? Then you moved to LA, and then I was trying to find a church, and there were some big churches out here, and I was going through some things, depression, suicidal depression. I was a late-stage virgin. Thank you to Alden for bringing that description into my life. And
no. You said you were a late-stage virgin.
But you told me I should name that as my album.
Yeah, I said that should be your next special.
And so it weighed on me. It weighed on me because you're trying to keep these ideals. And my mom owned that. She was very proud of it. She once gave an interview in a local paper, and my son is still a virgin. And I'm like, I'm 20. Like, what are you doing to me?
Damn.
And I told this to my therapist one time years ago, and he stood up and yelled, "Your cock is not your mom's." And it's the greatest.
Holy shit.
That
That is a Judd Apatow scene.
Yes.
That is.
Oh my god.
And I think Jerry and I could do a long form interview to go details of this and you know, even to this day, I'm not ready to toss all of the ideas. You talking about the blameless, all of the ideas, all of the people, or even the belief. I'm not ready to toss it all away. I just I couldn't be a part of it. And when I was going through this late stage virginity thing, which is completely fine, but I had a lot of people I grew up with who were married. And they got married at 18. You have to stay. You can't have premarital sex. Like motherfucker, you got married at 18. I'm 26 in LA.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? You don't know what I'm going through. And then got involved in a church and tried because I was suicidal. And my friend, a guy at work who worked for me was like, "You got to go to our church and Rocky Peak up here." And everyone at that young adults they'd meet on Wednesday nights. You know, a bunch of 20-year-olds doing church with a 30-year-old pastor. They were all fucking each other. And here I was ready to kill myself because I didn't know how to interact with a woman that I was interested in. I didn't drink, which is totally fine, but I didn't know how to go out and have fun. It affected my life, affected my career. I tell the story all the time. I used to be in the Groundlings with Mikey Day and Kristen Wiig and Kent Sublette and all that stuff. And there was one day like they were like, "Hey, you want to go hang out, go to a bar, get a drink?" And I was like, "I don't drink," and I left. And they were just kind of like, "We just want to be friends." You know,
wow. So
I didn't make connections that I should have made in a deeper way back in the early 2000s, and all that to say. And then I did go up on a men's retreat with my dad at his church in my hometown. I went up to, it was like Hume Lake up in blah, blah, blah. And I had pretty good religious experience, I thought, up on the hill by a cross. Tears, spirit, felt it. Jerry, you know what I'm talking about. You know, you don't feel it in a Catholic church, but you feel it where you're like, there's some endorphins rushing.
Felt it in celebration.
They call it
feeling.
Yeah, they call it that is the same feeling, right? They call it the fire on the mountain. You come down the mountain, and sometimes it's hard for that fire doesn't burn. I walked back into the church that I was going to at the time, and there was a guest pastor talking about Psalm 40 and giving this, literally saying, "We must be fire and brimstone." He was giving this. He was like he was a guest pastor. He was ripping into the world. We shouldn't be of the world. And then he went into Psalm 40 and it was like, "This is my favorite song." It always boggles me that no one ever put this to music. And I wanted to stand up and go, first of all, the Holy Spirit ain't here, because I think I just felt it, and it ain't here.
It's not in this room.
And two, fucking U2 closed every concert in the 80s with it. 40 is Psalm 40. You fuck. Get in the world because the world is listening. Like, fuck off.
That's amazing.
Ken was offended on two of the most important fundamental levels.
Yes.
It's adorable sometimes how like unaware Christians are.
Sometimes it's adorable.
Amazing.
But yes, other times it's like, fuck with the lights on, man. Like, what are you doing? And I departed from that. And then it was a slow, you know, and you go work through the guilt and all the stuff. But then, you know what? Absolutely. 2016 started to change me. 2012 started to change me. A lifelong Republican conservative who worked in public safety and has arrested 1,000 people and was surrounded by, you know, cops all day and everything. And then the, you know, the Sandy Hook shooting happens, and no one wanted to discuss, even discuss what to do. And I was like, that doesn't seem godly. And then everything Jerry said, I don't want to go into, same thing, 2016. Like I told my mom one time, I said, "Everything you raised me not to be, he is."
Exactly.
So how is this working? There was someone who posted, a woman posted, the one thing we learned this week is that the one thing that is worse than a rapist is a woman when it comes to voting. Like that stuff change, and that's why everyone's leaving the church. It ain't the church, it ain't God. And there's people out there doing some work, man. Zach Lambert is a pastor I follow on Twitter, who I think who is out there in Texas, who is out there for the LGBTQ plus community. He's out there fighting the fight, and he's getting ripped apart, and he's getting sent to hell by everyone. It can exist. People can exist. Yes. And to the question about, is God upset? Is God? There'd be times I'd be in my church in the 90s, drifting away, listening to the pastor, even a pastor I liked, and they had like a a balcony, right? It was a big facility. And there was a second level, maybe a baptismal thing up there. But I'd been up there, like it was like a balcony. And I sometimes I'd drift away and I would just picture Jesus up there. Classic white Jesus outfit. Leaning up against it, smoking a cigarette, going, this ain't it.
Yeah,
this ain't it.
That dude.
And that was the final straw.
Yeah. That's fascinating. And I think that like you get to I've gotten to this point, and for those of you that have like been in it, like Gerry and Ken, especially, like I'm sure there are days where it's like I'm leaning fully out, and then days where like through instinct or through something, you're like, well, maybe I went through a phase in middle school where I got involved in like one of those first priority clubs where I was like, oh, maybe there is a healthy version of this, 12. I'm acting like I know what the fuck mental health is at 12. But I'm like, maybe there's a good version. Like everyone's just in the cafeteria, singing, hanging out, eating pizza, talking about stuff. And then I realized that what I really just needed was a public speaking outlet. And so like but then I felt the pull briefly again in 9th or 10th grade. And I went to a church that my sister was like, it's non-denominational, and she wanted to dedicate her son. And I was like, let me try. And then they did a unit because they had to modernize it a little. We're doing a new unit. Mm-hmm. And they were like, and we're going to be talking about the modern family. And my cells were like, something ain't right. Like and then they were like, so the family unit, and I was like, oh, these motherfuckers. And they had a long, it was a good amount of time of nothing that seemed problematic. Like I couldn't find a single sign. I couldn't find anything suspicious. I just, the vibes, the people were cool. And then they did this unit and they just said some like just blatantly homophobic stuff. And I just like looked at my mom and was like, I'm going to the car. And I just got up and walked out. And I was like, I can't ever go back there. And that was the last thing where I was like, I felt like I gave them the benefit of the doubt one too many times in that moment. Mm-hmm. And then ever since then, with everything that you've all touched on about the modern Trumpian era, especially, like I have cousins where it's like, I'm waiting right now on the report card. I'm fucking waiting because, and I told my mom, I was like, I honestly don't want you to tell me some of them, but I kind of do also want to know because I want to know who to break bread with. And I'm like, you are not, especially the pro-lifers. Like, it's like, you're not pro-life, you're pro-birth. There's nothing about you that's pro-life. Like,
exactly.
You've never, and my favorite thing is like, if I had, a jar full of like viable embryos and a newborn baby in the other hand, and I said, I'm going to yeet one of these things off of this fucking balcony right now. There's nothing in your soul that's going to pull for you to jump at the jar. No. So don't tell me they're the same. They're not. And things like that just like rotted away at my brain until I became the pleasurable young man you all know today.
Well, look, I'll bring it down a little bit just to make y'all see something very strange that I own. Can I share something that I own that is from the Spy Kids era? Is this something? This is arguably my weirdest collectible. I don't think anyone's ready for this. Genuinely.
It's
a jar of embryos.
No one's ready for this. Absolutely not. Yeah.
Gerry, do you know what it is? You've seen it.
I may have.
Pull up M's comment. Pull up M's comment. M is here.
I've slept for so long since then. Oh yeah.
M says, "Hello, I'm here for the cis men talking content. A nice break from all the Chapel Roan."
Okay, what I'm going to show you, I'm willing to bet I'm the only person in the known world that has this. Are you ready? Why am I saying whitewash?
The civilized
whitewash
world.
Stop it down.
I have 100 3D glasses from the Spy Kids movies. Just in a box.
Can we
100 of them?
Can we share our best movie memorabilia that's within reach of our arms?
Please.
Okay.
Yes, please. Yeah. 100. Like, look, I'll show you. It's like a bag of cocaine, but Spy Kids 3D glasses.
Have you ever thrown on a 3D DVD and busted out a pair?
I wouldn't say if I have done it with YouTube videos. So I've like pulled up YouTube videos and just watched them. But I got it for like $17. So that's why I had so many.
Love that.
So, there you go.
Ken, what is your memorabilia?
I have there are only two left. I gave one away a couple years ago. Man, they're still here. I have from the 1998 classic, There's Something About Mary. There's Something About Mary promotional hair gel packets.
What the fuck?
Dude,
No
what?
way.
Yes,
Hell
the
yeah.
font. Go back. No, I want to see. Look at the font. The font is wild.
Yeah.
Why do you have that?
I worked in the summer of '98 before I moved to LA. I lost my job in radio, and I got a job at the movie theater that all my friends worked at. And
Hell yeah.
we had to give these away. And I had this great exchange. There was a family that came in to buy tickets, and it was like a black family, husband, wife, and 2 young kids, right? And this is key to the story. And I go, and they're like, okay, and the kids are like, oh yeah, we want one of those. And I went, and the dad looks at me and goes, what kind of hair gel is that? And I go, and he goes, is it black hair gel or white hair gel? And I go, it's men hair gel. And he goes, oh yeah, okay, kids, don't grab that.
Awful.
So anyways,
That's amazing.
Oh,
That's amazing.
I don't have any niche. I mean, I've got this on my desk at all times because I'm me. This is not niche, nor is it old, but it's like I think I'm the only one that bought the song this way. I buy Dua Lipa singles on cassette.
Yeah,
we know that. We know
So
that.
this
That's
is
how
not
you're going to
new.
win her over.
I have all of the latest songs on.
You know what blows my mind about her outside of everything? It's that we're the same age. You ever see somebody that looks like they're from
awful.
that is so beautiful that wars could be fought over them?
Yes.
And it's like, and I say them because I don't even mean to gender this. Like, it's just like there are people that I'm like, how the fuck are we both 28? Like, that's not fucking.
Not
I think
wild.
she just turned 29. I think, but it's
Have
like,
you ever gone back to your high school reunion and been like, oh, Janet's grandma is here. Oh, it's Janet. She's the same age as me.
it's Janet. Yeah,
No, it's
it-
heavy.
It completely blows my mind. Like, it's like I don't understand it.
What gets me is looking back to famous movies that I love and how old the actors I love were when they made that
Oh, it's
movie.
insane.
Like the guys, I'm the same. I'm older than like I think Bill Murray in fucking Ghostbusters.
Wow.
That
Which is
fucks me
insane.
up. That fucks
Yeah,
me
then,
up.
see,
crazy.
then I have to like go and find a success story.
I will
about someone
say,
who
I
did
think about
something
that.
after 40 or something, you know.
That I know Scotty and I've talked about it, and light spoilers for Ken. I know you'll watch it when it comes out on home release, but like obviously I can't spoil real history for you. But
VHS.
in the SNL film Saturday Night, they do a scene of what we know happened of Belushi ice skating, because there's a photo of it, and they do a scene of Gilda and Belushi and Lorne, and before Lorne gets there, Gilda Radner's looking at John ice skating, and she says, do you ever have nostalgia for a moment that you're still in? And Belushi doesn't say anything because he's angry. And she says, like, right now we're here, and 20 years from now, we'll be talking about how we went live on this night. And we'll be walking through here at Rockefeller, looking up at the building with presents for our kids. And it's a beautiful scene, tinged with the devastation of knowing that neither of them saw 1995.
Right.
You know, neither of them made it to 20. Belushi gone in 83 and Gilda gone, I think, in 89.
Yeah.
And it just rocked me because you started to put into perspective that those were children.
Yes.
So to tie it back into
Literally.
Jerry's point, like they were like
Aykroyd was 20. Aykroyd was like 20, 21.
insane. Me at 20, I wasn't capable of fucking anything.
Exactly.
Let alone like changing
All right.
TV. It's crazy.
All right. How's the wings doing?
I know.
That got heavy. That got heavy.
I did. So I've got this is the third most intense. I've got the top two. This, to my knowledge, is some sort of, it's just like they're almost buffalo style, just a hot sauce. It's nothing remarkable. And I'm gonna take another bite of it. It's good. Don't get me wrong, it's good. But we're coming up on the fucking nightmare. This literally makes my nose hurt smelling it. So I'm not Bombad, but everything else has been
Excited
Bombad.
for that one.
Okay.
Everything else has been Bombad. Very
So
Bombad.
here's the
Korean
thing.
holding up real well.
I have some. I have a lot of questions we can pull from here, and I don't know how long we're planning to go, but I got some good ones. But I also wrote specific ones. So maybe while Scotty, you're finishing that wing, Gerry, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Gerry, have you ever looked over at Scotty and thought we can't let someone with that mustache get away with it?
Answer the question, sir.
I definitely thought that he probably shouldn't be let in some schools with that mustache, but at I mean, it's fun. No, he's fun. No, honestly, I think he rocks the stash. Frankly, I think he rocks. I think he rocks it.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah. Listen, I would pat him on the back, and I would I would give him like a program to hold in front of his face or something. If we had to go to the bowling alley if we needed to. So,
well, Scotty, has there ever been a time in which you've heard Gerry's UFO story and thought God will punish us for psychotropic drugs?
Hold on, wait, no. Let me tell you a real fucking thing that happened, Ken. This is one of my favorite Gerry stories because it's one of the few times where Gerry came down to Baton Rouge. Gerry's been down to Baton Rouge 3 times now, Gerry?
Yeah.
3 or 2? I don't remember. So he came down the first time, and it was, I'll just give you the context of the thing. We spent a whole day in New Orleans. We're dead tired. We're meeting up with my friend Eric and Kevin. We're doing some Bombadcast promotional photos that we still use to this day. And so we're heading to a studio to do that shoot because they had a wedding studio at the time, and we had a green screen up. It was great. On the way there, we're in my Hyundai Sonata. We're driving. And this is the moment where Gerry and I connected.
The car of the official UFO.
Yes, yeah. And it's late. It's like 10:45 at night. Like we've had like a 12-hour day. We're already beat. And we see like 7 or 8 dots in the sky in a row. Mm-hmm. And we're like, what the fuck is that? Like, there's no way this is happening. What is that? What is that? And Gerry's like, oh my God. We literally are like on one of the major highways in Baton Rouge. We're an airline. We literally pull to a stop on air. I'm like looking behind me. I'm like, someone can just slam into us and kill us. Oh, there is something in the sky that is slowly spreading away, just like this. And we're so locked in. And we're like, at this point, freaked out. Like, we are actually freaked out. Well, then we get to where we were, and we're like doing research. Like, did anyone else see that? We call my mom, and we're calling people. Come to find out, it was Elon Musk fucking Starlink. At launch, and we didn't know. But,
so even scarier. Yes,
even scarier. Yeah. But no, that whole idea of like, have I looked at him and been like, this guy's on something? No, we both at one point felt like we were watching a true mothership land and connect. It was the craziest thing.
I've heard Gerry's stories. I love them. I want to hear them again. So just asking. All right.
And honestly, and Ken,
I saw those when I was sober. By the way,
you're friends with quite a few people that have these stories. at least like a handful.
I mean, some people think them. Yeah. There's some great ones. Mark Riley's got a great one. He's told on my show before about shooting a film in Michigan in the wilderness in the forest, and
that is a good one.
Bright lights and stuff and everything. Yeah, that's pretty compelling. Yeah, it's fun. But and my day job's working in debunking conspiracy theories for fun and profit. But I love it. Yeah, but I love it. At the end of the day, show me the proof and I'll believe. But I love hearing about it all day. Gerry, tell me that story. Uncle Gerry, tell me that story again. One of these days.
Beautiful.
All right, those are my 2 questions there. I got more, but I just wanted to, we got deep, we got serious.
We did.
Second hottest one.
That's where I went.
Okay.
I will take it to a little bit of a lighter place too. Still very personal, but it dawned on me in this conversation that we have the whole spectrum of relationship status here, from having been married to currently married to engaged to be married to single. And so I'm curious for the two of you what your lowest romantic moment has ever been. And Gerry, caveat, like you don't need to just like default to divorce. You could pick like a elementary school heartbreak if you want to mix it up. What was the lowest moment romantically, and then what was the highest moment romantically? And then for you, Scotty, caveat, you do not have to pick the day you married her. It doesn't.
No. I understand that. I can go really quickly. There's a girl that I was head over heels in love with in high school. Like, I thought she was the one of those types. We dated for a year, and as like a 15-year-old dating for a year, and she throws you a surprise 16th birthday. Like, it was all those like, oh my God, couldn't be better. We went all of our first dances together. It like one of those people that by the end of it, and I didn't know it was ending. That was the caveat of all this. I was on a family vacation, and out of nowhere, she had just thrown me a party for my birthday. Literally, I get a phone call that she wants to break up with me, and she knew I was going on a family vacation. She knew I was with these people, and like convinced I was going to marry this girl. Just like one of those like.
What was the age again?
I was 16. 16.
So that's intense. A 16-year-old love's intense.
Yes, because it's so. And look, and I don't want to. I'm not going to say anything, but like that was the first person that I had those deep interactions with. That that kind of at that point when you're that young, you don't realize that what you're doing is something that people do, casually, or they don't do it. Like, I thought you could only do this one thing, and I was Catholic, obviously. Like, oh, I'm doing this with the person I'm going to end up marrying, so like it doesn't matter, right? And so I was doing those kind of things at a very young age.
Fucking front loading it. I love it when religious people do that. It's so good.
Do.
You're like, this is my intended betrothed. So it's under the purview of
that's how I felt.
Married by 17. Yeah.
She was the kind of bitch you write songs for. I'm just gonna say that's what I was doing. I was just writing songs, like a poetry about her. I still have messages in my notes about like things that I wrote to her, like this is the worst one. There was one time I texted my dad, "Good morning, Angel. I love you so much." No! My dad texted me right back at you. I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. That being said, that was.
I have a similar story to that. I have a similar story to that.
That's that girl for me. But I get this phone call on a family beach trip that she was breaking up with me, and I had no idea why at all. Like, come to find out, she like had been in a relationship like for like 2 out of the 14 months we were together with someone else, and she didn't feel like, I don't know. It's one of those really weird things where like true betrayal for like all of high school. I didn't really date after that. I felt so gutted and betrayed. And then of course not my next girlfriend. I've had flings, but like the next serious relationship was Katie, and like it took from 14, 15 to 19, 20 to like really want to be in a relationship again, because that was the low. And obviously the high, you could say the wedding, but I think it's the quiet Saturday mornings. I mean that's a peak no matter what.
I'm gonna start crying.
That's peak. It's the quiet Saturday mornings, and it's just like everything's calm. We got no agenda. That is peak. But anyway, that's my high and low. High and low right there. This is spicy, by the way. This is actually
it's
pretty
hitting.
good.
Nice,
yeah,
spicy.
it's hitting. It's nice.
Fantastic.
There you go. Well, so similarly to Scott, I want to tell my funny story about like texting the wrong person who you think is someone that you are in love with. Because when I was dating my ex-wife before she was my wife and before she was my ex-wife, back in college, we were like on like a chorus trip or something, or we were on like some kind of like college trip or whatever.
Come on, man.
And I'm just saying, that one time at band camp, guys. No. So we had stopped at the beach. We were like on the way somewhere, like we were on the way to, I think, to fly out to another country or whatever the fuck. Anyway, we stop for the night at this hotel at the oh no, I remember what. That's okay. Never mind. Sorry, it wasn't a school trip. It was my family going to Disney World, and she was coming with us, and we had stopped. But I messaged. We had spent the day out in the ocean, jumping waves and stuff. You just having fun, And I was, have you ever said something that sounds really fucking dumb to someone that you love, like a dumb little joke and stuff, just to be like cute and dumb or whatever? Maybe it was just me.
Sure. I'm sure we all know.
I've done it. Yeah.
I text who I thought was my then girlfriend, "You're the best wave jumping partner I ever had." Just be like, cute and funny, whatever. And one of my Bible professors messages me back, "Oh, thanks."
That's worse than bad. Holy shit.
He was that guy ended up being the one who was our he betrothed us and everything like that. So fuck him anyway. So no, I'm joking. He's cool. But I think my lowest, I don't know. So the one that's messed me up, Alden, you know this, and Scotty, you know this. There was a girl. It was my first kiss, and it was in college because Ken. We weren't always listen. Ken ain't the only one who was a what'd you call it, a seasoned virgin,
late stage virgin.
And I stayed even after this. So I had my first kiss with this girl. We burned hot and fast. And I mean, I was just like, I had never known such bliss. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks, because I would not give up my my V card, I think is how I look back on now, because she wanted something that's fine. She broke up with me, but then strung me along for an entire school year. I was, and again, I was too stupid to know, because I was like, oh my God, I got this this relationship, this kind of thing I've never had before. I really care about this person and stuff. And the way that she broke up with me was, like, I just don't want, I just don't think I want to be dating right now. And I was like, oh, it's like, so is there a chance or something? She's like, yeah, probably. And stuff. And there never is a chance, kids. Whenever they say that, they're just too afraid to break your heart. And but then she proceeded to string me along for a few years, and then she got married the next year to a dude.
Jesus.
And that's my great white whale for a long time. I still think about this girl to this day. I still every now and then I'll just go, well, and I'm like, had I actually had a brain of like a kid who, a college guy who had actually, known what sex was at the time, I could have, but honestly, I probably dodged a bullet, because I don't think that it was. Right. But anyway, and I can't. She's not on social media. She's not anywhere.
Oh, weird. Yeah.
Oh, she
did, however, star in a multi-season show called Ghost Whisperer, which was really interesting. We're actually going to call Jennifer later.
Oh my God, no! I can't do. I promised myself I would never do it again.
That's what I want for you, though. I want you to one day just be like, I'm with Jennifer Garner. Me and Ben are cool, though.
Haley Williams.
I'm with Jennifer Love Hewitt. I'm with Jennifer Garner. I'm with Jennifer Aniston. Any Jennifer is what I want for you. And they're all incidentally single, which is just mind blowing.
Yeah, you have the time.
Hey, listen, Jens, call me.
What's your high one, Jerry? What's a peak?
We're gonna put my digits at the bottom of the screen right now. What's up now?
What's your peak one? What's the one that you would consider?
I don't know if I had it yet. I was gonna say, like, that's it.
Wow,
that's hopeful. That's romantic.
I've had
better days. Better days.
I would say, the beginning of my relationship with my ex-wife was there are some days still to this day I look back and I go, you know what? I kind of miss that. I miss what that was. I miss what we had there, because it was, for a while, it was good. It was pretty good. We lasted like 8 fucking years. So there had to be some good times, and there was, absolutely there was. And so anyway, but I look forward to something in the future.
Beautiful, Jerry.
Wow, that's hopeful. That's what we all need to believe in this week. The best is yet to come.
For Jerry Cable, specifically.
America
TBD, but Jerry,
Jerry, good.
Jerry's where it's at. Yeah, I mean, look, Ken and Grace are peak, so it's like we don't even.
No,
this guy, this guy, you're the couple's envy of the town.
How long have y'all been together? Can I actually have no idea on the numbers?
Coming up on right? Coming up on 8 years.
Wow. Okay.
8
all right.
years.
Yeah.
Already?
Wow.
2017. Yeah.
Oh man,
crazy.
This woman stayed with you through Last Jedi discourse.
I mean, that's we went to see Last Jedi. She
what?
And any movie that has a shirtless Kylo Ren, she's gonna enjoy. So yeah. 8 years before. But before that, I had 2 relationships before that. Ended okay. They ended with some tears and stuff, but I'm still on good terms in the sense of I don't talk to them or see them a lot. But if occasionally I have one I can run into, one I can't anymore. But occasionally a message will come across, and it's always positive and it's always good. I try to leave them. One of my things, and maybe it's a bad trait, to always kind of leave it on good terms. But sometimes you can't, obviously. But prior to that, because of the late stage virgin thing, I had some women in my life and wanted and was in love, but I was I was combustible, I didn't know what to do with all these emotions, and also that fear. Because again, to what you're saying, Scotty, I really feel that of it had been drilled into my head and had grown up in that situation. Like the first one that comes along, that's it.
That's it.
And that's not bad for those that have that, right?
Some people do.
Amazing. My not my mom, but my dad. This was it. He was late stage as well. Not as late as me, but they're coming up on 50 years. But my romantic life before could best be described by Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Like, why do I fall in love with every woman I see who shows me the least bit of attention? Like, that was it, and it's a problem. And that can be problematic. And, Alden's heard me rant before. I think the friend zone is a real thing in the sense of you feel for someone and it's not returned. That fucking hurts. How you react to it and who you become after that is your choice.
Yes.
And I sometimes in some of the modern discourse, I get a little grumpy where it's just it's a wall against anyone, man, woman, or otherwise, that has feelings and that aren't returned. It sucks. Yeah. But that's the lows for me. And most of it I did it myself, or I didn't understand the situation. I was too hopeful and naive. The first big love of my life had never really actually left her abusive boyfriend, but had moved to LA, and that's when I met her, and I thought she did, and nothing happened, but it was just like I was pining over for someone that I had no access to.
Wow.
But the highs, other than having sex in the Venetian with the windows open and looking at Treasure Island,
what is best in life?
It's exactly what
rock on, man.
Exactly what you're talking about, Scotty. Dan Wilson of Semisonic, co-writer and co-producer of Adele's biggest hit, has a great song called "Easy Silence," and I think that's what love is to me. I always say this, like, we're not an open couple, not to divulge information that's not needed to be divulged, but like, I always say, sex is one thing, but you're not going to a grocery store with someone because that's where love is built. Love is built in the grocery stores. Love is built on Saturday mornings. Like, and by the way, I'm not saying that in a controlling demand. I'm just saying that's not what I'm interested in.
It's in the little moment. No, you're right, man.
Moments,
It's in those little quiet moments for real. Absolutely.
And we see that portrayed, I think, in comedy in some smart ways. Like, I've been watching a lot of rom-coms this year because, one, I'm lonely, and two, because people insist that there are no good ones anymore, and that's just not true. So I've been building a letterbox list of ones post 2010. And a common thing.
Dua Lipa's going to see that one day. Don't you worry.
Dude, she's gonna be like, I love these. My 4 favorites are in this list. And I'm gonna be like, I know what your 4 favorites are. Albanian princess. But what I realize is that what Ken's talking about is a thing often that's used to like characterize the relationships. Like, obviously, in a breakup situation, these two characters are fucking again because that's comedy. But what always sends the characters over the edge is when they're like, oh, his toothbrush is here. You guys are brushing teeth. Like, it's always like a small thing, Or like, oh, you're dancing now. Yeah. You're going to dance class. Like, It's when you realize life is being lived without you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
absolutely.
what it's like. Oh, it freaks me. I want to say
the bliss,
my low is very obvious. My low was my breakup in 2021 sent me into an extremely dark place. And we don't need to go there right now. But I will give you a best between the first time I was ever in love and that relationship. I've been in love twice. I had young love like Scotty, that high school.
Yep.
That friend that becomes more and and then I had my like 5 years live with the person, had a little life love. Mm-hmm. In between there though is a person I only went on a date with once who fascinates me. And
fascinate me.
Truly, like, it's like, so long story short, I lived in South Florida. Went to visit my friends that were going to UF. So it's like 4 hours away, blah, 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 party, right? We are getting ready to go to a party. My friend's scrolling on her phone. She's looking at their Facebook or whatever. And she stopped on one of her friend's profiles. And I said, whoa, who's that? Just gorgeous girl with like a Danny Phantom shirt and whatever. And you know I like them alt. So I was like hook, line, and sinker. So I'm like, who is that? And she's like, oh, that's my friend such and such. And I said, are they coming tonight? And she goes, I mean, she knows some of the people. I don't know if she would. I was like, can you make sure? So then one of my buddies is like, oh my God, that's it. They would make so much sense if they met, blah, blah, blah. And everyone starts freaking out about how good of a pick that is for me. So they call her, and I can hear her kinda, and she's grilling them about why she should go to this thing. And I'm like, oh, like her already. So she eventually shows up to this thing, right? And in her purse or back pocket or something, she's being very standoffish. And then she comes over to me. I was like, can I get you a drink? Blah, blah, blah. And she pulled out what it was like a pocket calendar that had Shakespeare quotes on each day of the year. And she said, what's your birthday? Right. And so already I'm like, oh, I'm in. Like I was like, I'm more in than anyone's ever been at this point. And I said, it's December 9th. She read me the quote. I was like, oh, that's blah, blah, blah. We started talking about literature and Shakespeare and stuff. And she said, what's your favorite Shakespeare? Now, at this moment in time, and it still is, my favorite Shakespeare play is Macbeth. But that's too basic of an answer.
That's right.
Like, I can't be like, my favorite's Destroyer. Like, you can't fucking say that, right, Scotty? Like, you can't be like, my favorite's Abbey Road. Like,
you got my favorite's Ace Frehley's solo of the Four Kiss solos.
100%. New York Groove's my favorite track. Like, you got to understand. Like, so I said my favorite is the Cymbeline, which I've read one time, and because no one fucking says that. And she was like, okay, quote it. What's your favorite quote from it? And I'm like, I'm fucking cooked. But I remembered that Tom Hiddleston, in a Nerd HQ Q&A, run by former actor and now grifter Zach Levi. Tom Hiddleston said that he was in a production of Cymbeline, and he said the quote that I will now say, which is, hang there like fruit, my soul, till the tree die. And so somewhere from the recesses of my mind, I plunged Tom Hiddleston's delivery of that and presented it like my own memory. And then she said, do you want to go outside and talk? So now we're ditching the party. And so long story short, this rocks. By the end, walked her to her Uber, whatever. She goes home. I'm like, dude, I'm going to seal the deal because I'm there for the rest of the weekend. I'm like, there's still 2 days to get this done. And so then I'm like, all right, well, dinner tomorrow. I said, make sure she comes to the dinner. And I said, but tell her that it starts 30 minutes after we all get there. So she shows up last. And they're like, why? I said, because I'm going to tell the waiter, whatever this chair gets is on me. And then at the end of the dinner, she's like, wait, I didn't pay you. I can't leave. And I said, no, it's good. I got it. And then she was like, what? I was like, you're taken care of. Let's just go. And she's like, oh, okay. We get to the bus stop where she's going to leave. And I said, do you want to go on a date? She said, when? I said, right now. And she goes, what about our friends? I said, fuck our friends. Let's go on a date. And then she's like, okay, let's go on a date. And we were out until 4 or 5 in the morning having coffee while she smoked cigarettes. And I've never smoked a cigarette, but she smoked cigarettes. And it was like one of the greatest, most intellectually, one of the only people I've ever been extremely confident was incredibly much immensely beyond my intelligence. They're like they're a materials engineer and a writer and like all this stuff, just a really genius human being, and still is. And then the next day, it was my last day in town, and then ghosted.
Amazing.
Ghosted.
It's nice.
Entirely ghosted.
Nice.
And I didn't realize I'd been ghosted. I was like, oh, maybe we'll, blah, 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 pick up flowers, whatever. I'll be in town soon. And then after, no contact. Our friends are confused. They're like, yeah, if we see her, we're going to ask her. She was being really dodgy with them. And then it was like 8 months later was the next time I was in that town. And she had not reached out to me at all. And so I just sent her a text and said, hey, same party people, same place as the last time. I'll be around. Did not respond. And then my buddy Omar was like, she's coming. And I said, what do you mean? She didn't say anything. And he goes, that's exactly what you would do. And I was like, you're right. I would just show up later. And then she did.
Oh my God. Yes.
We didn't. There was not a romance, but we hugged and she was just like, I'm sorry. And she explained how she had just been like hurt and like emotionally abused by this guy and like was feeling really hurtful and wrathful and like thought that it should feel better to like squash someone and like, and then, and we have a friendship that lasts to this day. We'll go months without speaking, and then we'll be on the phone all night, and we talk about ideas and creativity. But they are not online, and they don't want to be, and they've made themselves ungoogleable. And they're a very weird and interesting and beautiful human being.
And I love that.
The fact that, of course, you would have the Richard Linklater rom-com. Like, if Nikki Kumar, if you're in chat, take notes and just write this movie.
Yeah, for real.
Just write this movie.
I'm telling you, every single thing that I'm saying, I swear on my life, and more importantly, my dog's life. That's how serious I am. This is 1,000% accurate to what happened. Like, the more I describe it, like literally, like walking over to her friend who set it up, and her being like, "So what'd you guys talk about?" And I said, "Oh, we talked about like her mom and like when she got sent to boarding school and like all this stuff." And her friend looking at me, jaw on the floor, saying, "She didn't tell me any of that until we knew each other for like 8 months."
God damn.
Like
the fact that I believe every second of it, Alden, because the fact that you're describing the expectations versus reality sequence in 500 Days of Summer,
it's crazy.
But in two parts, two parties, is what I want for you.
Sorry. Well, I was gonna say the coda. Right now, we're not speaking, and I don't know if that's because I said something wrong or I don't know. It's hard to tell. But also with this person, there are times where like they just won't respond, and it's kind of like they have the attitude of like, if you trust me, you know I'm gonna come around.
There you go. Yeah,
and that so we've gone longer periods of time. I'm just projecting my loneliness onto it. I know that.
I'm rooting for you.
But in 2021, and again, it's not really romantic at all. But in 2021. We were talking post breakup and everything, and we were up on the phone really late. And I was like, "Do you want to get married?" And they were like, "Well," they said, "Well, the entire concept." And they started to go into an answer about like the concept of marriage. And I said, "No, I mean to me. Like, do you want to get married? Like, just to like have that person and like we'll move somewhere and we'll have like some dogs and like it doesn't even need to be like I'm not talking about family. I'm just talking about like, do you want to be like each other's person?" And they were like, "You don't want to marry me," and that's all they said. All they said was, "You don't want to marry me."
Damn, dude!
I cannot wait till Alden turns 35, and all this is a distant memory. Alden, this is why you are my illegitimate son, because this was me in my 20s. And I tried to make everything a rom-com, and sometimes succeed. And I'm not accusing you of trying. Sure. I'm saying it happened. Sure. And now you're And you've been in relationships.
Now I'm chasing the dragon.
But now you're chasing the dragon. My buddy, I have a buddy, Matt, who's married and very happy now. But like, we used to always have to calm him down because it'd be like, dude, you cannot reserve the roof of that building in L.A. and set up a table with a rose and oh, you did it? God damn it. You can't stop that. Stop that. So I love this for you. I love this story.
So true to form.
Fascinating human being. And we've both been in relationships since and everything. And again, it's not a romance. But it's just like
it should be.
I was like, this person is just like I didn't realize until that person that all I wanted was to not be the one that carried the conversation at all.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're coming down the last 5 minutes. I've got my hottest hot sauce.
Your hottest hot sauce. Okay.
The hottest one. This is called the atomic sauce. This smells like a nightmare. I can only describe it to you. And it smells a little bit like ball sweat. That's how I'm going to say it.
That's just a hint.
That's good.
And I'm going to get the milk real quick. But while we do that, I'll tell you my favorite Shakespeare play, and I want to hear y'all's as well because I have it wireless. Mine all-time Comedy of Errors. That is one of the greatest stories of all time, where it's like the idea of two twins swapping by accident. And I'll show Ken. Ken will, and Alden will love this too. The version I watched growing up was and I had to do it for a essay my senior year. It has Roger Daltrey from The Who in it. So I watched this one for like
what is happening in this image?
This is real. This is real.
Mm-hmm,
So there's a Roger Daltrey starring from The Who, the singer of The Who, in A Comedy of Errors. So I'm going to get my milk real quick. I want to hear y'all's Shakespeare plays, and then we'll do one last big question.
I took a year of Shakespeare in high school, so I'm not unfamiliar with it, but I'm not super familiar with it. My favorite was I was in the play The Merchant of Venice. So I like that one. I played the part of Old Gobo, and an actor named Manu Intiraymi, who would go on to Star Trek and stuff. He played my son Gobo, and we had a lot of fun doing that. So that's always been my favorite. Boring answer.
Yeah, Macbeth. So no, joking. Yeah, joking.
I don't know. It's the best. It's so good.
No, honestly, I'm not as familiar too. I did like I said, the couple in high school too, and I mean Romeo and Juliet, of course, plucks at the young heartstrings and stuff like that. You know, like that. That's why they make you read that one in high school, is so you really want to kill yourself when your girlfriend says no. You know, but.
When you won't give up your V card.
I was more of an Edgar Allan Poe fan, like
Jerry, I know you were. I've seen your high school photos.
I know. Well, those are my college photos. In high school, I was more like just like a chubby kid wearing a NASCAR shirt. But not because I like NASCAR, because I like the colors of the jersey. But anyway, the Cask of Amontillado.
That's
a very good story.
All right. What's the last one? What's the last heavy hitter that we can do in a roundabout fashion? And then I'll consume this right before I eat it. This very last hot sauce, the atomic sauce.
I think I have one that could take us home here.
Here we go.
Unless you have something, Alden.
No, go for it, please.
Okay. We should all find peace in the idea of being present in our current journeys. Oasis called it "Be Here Now." But what is one life choice you'd go back and change?
Christ.
Dealer's choice on who's first.
Damn.
All right, the last dip, everyone, just like they do in that silly show.
Make it.
What would be that one choice you change? I'm gonna bite into this. I will say the first thing that comes into my head.
Do it.
Here it comes,
bite
everyone.
into that.
This is fucking hot.
The final.
Oh, this is hot shit.
The greatest regret of Scotty Gerry.
Oh my god, this is so fucking hot. This is actually really hot. This is good. I don't think about my regrets often, and I've talked to my friends about this a lot recently. There's one friend that I had a falling out with recently that it shouldn't have happened the way it did, and I deeply regret that it happened the way it did. But I also, as much as I love and miss them, I don't know if I need them right now back in my life. That's a regret. I could have handled the situation. This is actually very hot. Good job. It is like mouth and throat hot. Oh, I'm drooling. Okay. That's one regret. One silly regret. And we all have our, god damn, this is hot. Fuck. Okay, hold on. No, y'all go. I have a silly regret. This is actually hot.
Dude, this guy's going through it. He's suffering.
Oh my god, my mouth is like hemorrhage. This is like, it feels
but like,
but
do you mean like?
hot.
I mean, I know more, and I'm not gonna obviously divulge things, but like for the viewers, like, do you mean regret allowing it to get to that point, or regret how you responded in the fallout?
No, I'm saying what is one? Let me read my own question again. What is?
Oh no, but I mean for Scotty.
Oh, for Scotty. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, do you
like
with this friend? This friend, like, do you think that do you regret letting it fester, or do you regret? The actual.
I don't think the bubbles are going to be good for
See,
that.
This is the genius of the concept.
This is actually really hot, guys.
This is where we're going to get our viewership spike. It's right here.
I was gonna say, yeah, this is right here where
I miss not being able to talk about Vinnie Vincent's first album. I miss not being able to talk about the Phantom Menace came back to theaters, and that was me and this guy's favorite fucking thing. And I missed that. I'm sad that I missed. I'm gonna start crying. I'm sad that I missed out on that. But it was a choice between both of us to kind of mutually step away, and I knew the bond would never be the same as it once was, and it makes me sad. This is so fucking hot. This is. I'm not taking any more of this.
Come on, Scotty. Holy Donald Duck did this without batting an eye. Come
on. Fuck. Good lord. Like I'm being deep throated by chicken wings. Okay. That is a regret.
That's a regret.
That is a regret, but there's also relationship things aside from like a friend, but like that is one of the ones that's been on my mind a lot recently. And yeah, oh my God, that was really good and hot. God damn. Okay. Wow.
Love it. Serious and spicy.
Oh my God, that's hot.
This man we forced him to relive his trauma, and he's fucking dying.
What's yours?
He's crying. It's the scene in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Look, he's so happy. He's crying.
I'm done.
He's sweating.
Jacket is coming off. Jacket is coming off.
That atomic sauce is no joke, kids.
Sweating through his underpants. Oh, it's amazing.
Y'all have some. Share yours,
Gerry. What is one choice you change, even though you're happy where you are?
Exactly. I don't want to bring it back. I feel like I'm the one always bringing it back to to the more deep places and stuff like that tonight.
Because you're a real adult.
Apologies for that.
Yeah. You're not like some of the people in the comments.
I mean,
some of these fucking children here, like Nikki Kumar and fucking Coop.
Would an adult have a Bobby Wygant Star Wars trading card framed on their desk?
Rest in peace to a legend, Bobby Wygant.
What a legend! God damn, gone too soon. Anyway, I don't know, man. Like, I think one thing that I would, if I could go back, it was the exact phrasing is what if you could go back, or what one change? What was that phrasing one more time, Ken?
What is one life choice you'd go back and change?
Staying in my hometown after high school.
Oh God, Jerry, that's
going
heavy.
to college, at least in my hometown. I went to college because here's how I was raised. My parents are great people. I love them to pieces. They stayed in the same town they stayed within an hour of both my grandparents. Like I got to see all my family. There were aunts and uncles that had moved off. Like I had like family in Arizona and Washington and Texas and stuff like that. But they would come and visit, and it was the rest of my family was there. We were all there. My mom was always big on it's just like we this is home. Why would we leave? Kind of a thing. And so that really was kind of just pumped into my DNA. And looking back on it, and what I hope that I can give my kid is the confidence to, if you want to pursue something, to step out and go do it.
Damn.
Because I don't feel like I got that as much as I got, hey, your family's here. It doesn't matter as long as you're around your family. It doesn't, and which again is a great thing. And it was a great thing for a while. And I don't think my family is the best. I don't think they're the worst either. Kind of a thing. It's just one of those things, where like had I at least even gone to a college that was in another part of the state or in another state, things like that. And I got that way over my time in college. I was like, oh, I like to travel. I like to go. I like to be away from home, kind of a thing. I found myself a little bit there. But I mean, it happened a lot later than I would have wanted it to. And now looking back on things, I kind of wish, maybe I'd given myself that chance to, I don't know, like pop up to Chicago or something, like pop out somewhere, go somewhere where I want to, I used to do a lot of acting and stuff, and I don't do that anymore, and I used to do like all kinds of, really creative stuff that I don't really get to pursue much anymore. And that's the kind of stuff this outlet has brought me back to that love, being able to come on here, kind of talk and things like that. But anyway,
I feel what you're saying. Now, you and I have again similar thoughts and backgrounds and experiences. I understand what you're saying.
But yeah, anyway, you guys, this is cheaper than therapy right now, so
dude, for real, we're solving a serious. We right now, not to pat us on the back, but we've done more for men's mental health in the last 2 hours than the Democrats. Like we
that's fair. That is fair.
Clearly, there's a crisis, and we're doing our part here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you got to give yourself the chance to try, and I think whether it's hometown, I stayed in my hometown, didn't go to college. I did. I dropped out 2 years, but I had a radio job. I was a morning show host, and I thought I had made it, and then I didn't continue that, and then I go to LA, moved to LA,
Oh yeah, brother.
go start training at the Groundlings, and I was going to get on SNL like every 10,000 other people in this town with that dream, but I stayed safe. Meaning I didn't go outside of, and I still struggle with it. It's a problem I have to identify and fix. I stay safe. I stay right here. I find a nesting spot, and I don't try. And one of the reasons I was afraid to travel, I didn't try. We didn't fly as a kid. My parents didn't have that kind of money. We didn't leave. We drove for vacations. So I was afraid of it. I have a lot of fear. And going the concept of even, I was like, after a while, I was like, oh, I don't even want to be on SNL because I don't want to live in New York. I just didn't want to. I didn't know how to fly to New York.
Yeah.
And in 2015, I finally made it to New York for working with Screen Junkies, and I'm walking around with Dan Merle, takes me around town, and we get up to 30 Rock, and it's on a Friday night, and my friend Mikey Day was up there on the 18th or 17th floor and 8th floor, and all those floors, and the lights are on. It's a Friday night, and I know he's up there. And Mikey's super great and talented. But I just sat down, I stared up at 30 Rock, and I cried. And I cried because not that I thought I would get on the show, not that I would get on the show. I just I didn't give myself the chance to even try. And that's not a regret, but it's a series of life choices that I want to make sure I don't repeat, because I can repeat them. It's a pattern. So that's it. So, Jerry, I feel you. We'll have a virtual beer together one night and just talk it all out.
I have one more that I want to share too, because this is a heavy one that I realized recently. But I wish I had made more music when I was younger, because now I'm getting over a serious versions of like imposter syndrome, where I'm finally starting to gig again, where I felt like I couldn't do it without somebody else, but all I needed was myself this entire time, and it took a lot of realization to get over that. Because creatively, I can do Bombadcast literally if I woke up at 6 a.m, I could do Bombadcast all day, any day. I know I could. But to write music and put yourself out there, my biggest regret is being too scared to do it then. Because now I wish I had done it to have a catalog or something to look back on. Because now it's I don't know.
I mean, it's the permission to. I mean, there's that line in the Holdovers, you don't even dream a whole dream, or you can't even dream a whole dream, can you? And you need to give. I love radio. To a certain degree, I love the idea of it, and when it's great, it's fucking great. And just like podcasting, when it's great, it's fucking great. But so much of it sucks, and the industry barely exists anymore, and it's fucking failed. And I understand what you mean. Because sometimes I'm if I had given myself permission to aim for the real dream, instead I was oh, I got into radio because I knew I could be good at it, and it was right there, and and I knew I could, shine in the environment. It's weird. It sucks. It's I think everything in the regrets, mine would tie in with all of yours of perspective, that it's I wish I had this perspective, but it's but could you have even gained it without these failures?
Exactly.
And you end up in those cycles of it's impossible to know. But someone asked me, I forget what the context was, but we just got into what was the best day ever. And I realized that my best day, probably the best day of my life, if I really had to pick one, was a day in 2019 in Central Park, getting one of those waffles from one of the carts, and it was chilly, and I was with people that aren't even in my life anymore, and it's and I wasn't present at all. I was thinking about later that night. I was thinking about work. I was thinking about whatever, and it's I so wish that I knew that it was that day when I was in it, and I was was not. I have a horrible problem being present. That's why I'll give major credit to all of our friend Charlie Ashby for being the photographer for our friends.
Yes, he is.
Without being asked, he's we got to document this. He's we have to get pics, and because I'm terrible at it, and sometimes I'll get really sad when I'm fuck, I can't find that moment. I can't find that thing. How did we not? He was doing this. She was doing that.
Yep.
And that fucks me up all the time, of realizing there's so many gaps, and it's entirely because I was head in the clouds worrying about some shit that evidently doesn't fucking matter. And that's honestly one of the big takeaways of you know, a bunch of fucking Nazi bootlickers like managing to weasel their way back in, is that it puts into perspective what matters, and it puts into perspective how much you need to sit in the good moments so badly whenever you can and fucking document them.
This has been an amazing stream, y'all. I know this is a different road that Bombadcast normally doesn't go down, and obviously this is part of the Anytime channel as well. But for anyone that joined tonight, just know that, you know, Bombadcast has a little bit more levity to it, and this has had some levity, and this is not something that's been super heavy, but like our normal programming is not quite this. And I know Alden and Ken's programming for Anytime is not quite like this too. Usually it's a little more topical, but we can't thank either of y'all enough for the opportunity to come on here and share your thoughts and talk to us while we ate hot wings. That was.
Hey, should we give them a taste of like our channel? Just a small taste. Just a small taste. Let's give them a small taste. You know what? Hold on here. I got a great one that we did an episode about this commercial, but it's been just in our repertoire for a while. So you go ahead. Here's a little bit of taste of Bombad, okay? For Ken Alden and all their listeners and watchers.
この惑星の子供たちと呼ばれる存在にはおはようございます超授業だリンやそう全身でぶつかっていかなくてはならないもしよかったら付き合って声が小さいただ教師としてあるまじきそういう分かったこの惑星の教育は加減が難しいでも君はいい教師になる缶コーヒーのボスレインボーマウンテン
We've drank that coffee live on air.
What the fuck are these actors doing when we're not looking at them? Like when they're not booked in a role, like what is happening?
Making a lot of money in Japan, dog. How it goes.
I love it. Beautiful.
But no, really.
But thank you both. Thank you, honestly.
Thank you both. Yeah. A lot of fun.
You found the marriage between the shows, and there's a small but mighty ecosystem of really good people doing what we all do, and it's cool.
We gotta support each other. We're all stepping away from certain social media platforms while trying to be involved with others. And I think everyone should know that, like, no matter what group you're in, you can find the community of what you want to be involved in. You just gotta look kind of hard for it. And obviously, all four of us are pillars of our own beliefs and thoughts. And we are I would say we are pretty good people when it comes to people that you want to be around. And hopefully,
I'll say it. We're fucking great people.
We're great.
And everybody here knows the real truth, especially a fandom, which is that Kiari Mundi is only as old as you feel in your heart.
Exactly. Yep.
That's how you stay. Yeah, that's how you keep joy in your heart every day. Right.
Let us never forget. And look, boys, what do y'all have coming up? Anything in the near future that we can plug here and hype up here?
Well, the show will be back next week.
Yeah. Yeah, anytime returns next week as we forge our way forward in this coming era. Lot to talk about. For me, I always check for local stand-up stuff. My show, Pop Rockin' Radio, and go to my website for that. I'm having a lot of fun doing the Blathering, which is a live show. We take calls. We usually do it on Thursday nights, but I think I'm going to have to move it to Wednesday night because I keep having problems on Thursday nights and shows to do. And this was a wonderful opportunity, and I want to make sure I can be open on Thursdays more. So Blathering might go to Wednesdays. But anyways, a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
And, the channel that Ken founded, Casually Talk, we're back now. Andy and I just did a books discussion for House of the Dragon that spoils the future of the show. So if you're a freak and you really want to know what's going to happen, you can watch it. But it is huge spoilers. And we're going to continue coverage there on all of our fantasy series. And then Octo Radio will be back. Octo Radio will be back soon with some Skeleton Crew interviews that we're waiting to get locked. But I might be able to talk to some cool filmmakers, some of whom have worked everywhere with everything all at once, you might even say. And so that's going to be exciting. And yeah, look forward to Anytime in the Trump era. I think that's everything except the Blue Sky move. Anytime's not on Blue Sky yet. We will be by Sunday at the latest. I'm going to set that up. I've moved over. Ken moved over before I did. And yeah, it's whatever so far, but it's not run by Elon Musk, so it'll do.
Yep, it'll do. And one thing you can look forward to from Bombadcast is we're talking about the Got Milk campaign next week. We may or may not be wearing full cow costumes. So that's just one thing we'll be drinking milk and talk about how bizarre this propaganda movement was, because I don't know how
propaganda.
Do you know how deep this goes? This shit goes so fucking deep, it's terrifying. Like, I'm not talking
this is,
like
I'm not talking from the FDA. You know?
Yeah. This is like a very bizarre thing.
If I could just say, I picked up a seal on the side of the road today, and I think that milk is really actually good for the spleen.
But like, these are not Photoshop. These are all real campaign photos that we're taking. I'm serious.
Why does RFK Jr. sound like Nick Nolte after like a hell of a bender? That's what I want to know.
He sounds like he's gonna tell you about the fucking Strand casts and how he earned his freedom.
He sounds like Nick Nolte gargling like
hot sauce.
I don't know, gravel, like pea gravel or something.
Oh god damn. Well, regardless of all that, welcome. See you next week. Ken, can you give us a good stay Bombad to wrap out the night, man?
Everybody, here's what I need you to do. Stay Bombad.
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Jackie. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share.
What is it? Pasquale?
It's a dream about a world when nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? Disregard a broken bottle top
and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. And that's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been
Time for us to take a break, but we wouldn't dream of being gone for long.